it's not too late to be heard. So tell me what I need to know. Tell me what I need to know. And stop this charade.
So small, watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Lay my troubles to rest. Blow the smoke through my cigarette. City lights looking fine, and I know this is my time now. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. I wanna drive a faster car. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me.
Unsafe, I thought I We watch the sun go down over the same old town, like so many times before. We look at the same old stars, battle the same old wars, like so many times before. And I know that we're not perfect, but I'm gonna miss all that we had. Yeah, I know that we're not perfect, but I need this night for the last time. Stay, stay. Know you're gone in the morning, but I'll be okay if you stay. could have been. Thinking I would know what the future bring. All the highs and lows. Said I'm gonna win, though the world might spin. Now I'm sitting here like I'm no one. It rains down on me. All the phone calls I'm ignoring. See, I'm a mess, just trying to guess my way through this. Just don't get enough of me. 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 Worry way too much. Got a policy. Didn't bring me luck, just the honesty. Now it's all on me if I'm gonna win. Oh, I'm just gonna get up. It rains down on me. All the phone calls I'm ignoring. See, I'm a mess, just trying to guess my way through this. Just don't get enough of me. 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 Wanna go back in time when everything seems so clear, and when the problems we carried weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me. Weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me. Weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me. Weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me. Weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me.
Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow. Your will is my law, I'ma let you be the boss, 'cause I'll go where you go. I'll take you to a place we can see it all. Step off the edge, I can break your fall. Your will is my law, I'ma let you be the boss, 'cause I'll go where you go. When you fall down, I'll get you back up again. The things you try are things that you everywhere. We are kings of the world. And tonight is our playground. We are kings of the world. And anywhere it's homebound. We are kings of the world. And tonight is our playground. We are kings of the world. And anywhere it's homebound. We are kings of the world.
Hello and welcome back to the.
I feel bad now. I was like, hey, Kyra, you lead us in. And then as soon as I appeared, I start dancing because I'm just that excited. And I completely break Cairo.
No, I just was not expecting. I just could see in this like corner of my eyes just this.
I'm sorry. Let's try that again. Pete, can we roll? Let's roll the same.
I
intro.
could-
Can
yeah,
we
yeah,
do
let's
that
do-
again. Like, take two. Get it together. Get it together. Go on, you got this.
Hello and welcome back to the Badass University All Stars, where me, Cairo, is going to be casting this evening, joined by the wonderful Jerry. How's it going?
Hello. Very nice to see you here, Cairo. Professional as ever. Looking very, very happy there. I have no idea why. You also have a rather spectacular little lip fringe there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any particular reason for that?
Oh, it's obviously Movember. Got to be supporting the men's mental health. You know, you get the kind of cause going, meeting. You know.
I had my hunch. We had Warden on here yesterday, and we spent way too long talking about stashes. So you know what Movember is all about. Go and donate. It would be a great idea, and for a good cause as well. So let's move on from that. Today we have two matches, of course, Cairo. We've got Sleepy Gang versus Ludens, as well as Aces versus Average Players Only. And you may be wondering, two matches? What's going on? This is bull. We expect at least 3 or 4 per night. Well, there have been a couple of forfeits, sad to tell, prior to today's game. So straight away we know that... you know what? I know which games are forfeits. I didn't make a note of who got the forfeit victories. So I know that we are going to see Sleepy Gang, Ludens, Aces, and Average Players. But today it is Delta and Rank Monkeys, I'm being informed, are the ones that have forfeit their games. So that means that victories go to both
IOM and someone else.
Yeah, the match list I'm looking at is completely...
Combat Wombats too?
I found it. I got very confused. I was looking at my match list and it just didn't... Like, my brain didn't do the thing. My brain didn't do the thing, Cairo. Sometimes it just do be like that.
Well, anyway, Jerry, let's get into these matches that we've got coming up then. We do have Sleepy Gang versus Ludens, and it's kind of a battle of complete polar opposites, which is, weirdly enough, we see Sleepy Gang at the top of the table, whereas, well, Ludens kind of near the bottom, which is not something that we usually see when it comes to this team, which we've seen for a few seasons now.
Yeah, there were a lot of expectations placed on them going into the previous season, in fact, when we knew that they were an established roster. They'd come together quite a while ago, and they had, this core unit that had continuously done fairly well and been exploring realms beyond Buell as well. They underperformed to some degree, maybe to our expectations, based on those earlier seasons. And they're struggling similarly here, but there's certainly still hope for them. We saw them in action yesterday, and they weren't too shabby, to be honest with you. Ludens losing, in the end it was 7-1 to Alpha. They were shabby. I have mistaken them for Ireland. They were shabby. Oh god, yes, they were shabby. Alpha absolutely tore them a new one on Oregon. But I feel like they just need to wipe that slate clean. This is a different side they're facing in the form of Sleepy Gang, and to be fair, it's not the kind of side you want to face after the performance that you had yesterday, because Sleepy Gang are well on top at the moment.
That's like playing Chelsea, getting thumped 5-0, and then right, where are we going next week? Man City.
Yeah, exactly. It's a rough couple of days potentially for Ludens.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And well, unfortunately, that is the case. As you've already said, we're not going to see Oregon this time round because they played, Ludens played it in their last match. Mm-hmm. So where can they go to kind of build on this and try and actually put up a good fight against, well, a Sleepy Gang? In my head, I'm thinking Cafe, but after watching so much in the major today, I really would rather not cast it.
Yes, same. Bit of bank as well would probably be a weird one to see. What's also weird is seeing 4 Chalets banned. We'll get that fixed quick, smart, so don't you worry about that, and we'll have the map bans up soon. And in fact, so soon that here they are right now. Those are your auto bans. We saw Clubhouse and Oregon yesterday. Just to remind you as well, that Sleepy Gang victory against IOM yesterday on Clubhouse 7-5 is a really close one, a really nice nail-biting match that me and Warden had the pleasure of sticking our teeth into. The next bands coming up here will be Bank and Chalet, so we are certain to not see Bank, which, if you've been keeping track of the Sweden Major today, as I'm sure you have, Gyro, many of us have been, you'll be pleased to see the back of that for once. Honestly, usually I'm all up for a Bank, but I'm all banked out today.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, I mean, this is honestly a caster's joy right now, apart from the fact, obviously, well, I guess Bank being banned out. All in all, I'm not surprised by any of this. Ludens actually banning out Chalet. I'm questioning that because they're a very structured style team. Chalet recently has kind of been demanding that, considering how much utility can be put up. So I'm interested to see where the last 3 maps take us, because we've got Coastline, Cafe, and Villa left.
I feel like we're likely to see a coastline. Oh, there it goes.
Oh no.
Interesting, actually. So, Ludens, who quite often ban Cafe, have decided to let it through here in favour of Villa as the effectively their map pick.
Yeah.
No. It just changed. It just changed, but in front of our eyes. So, it is actually going to be a Cafe. Okay, that does make a bit more sense. They do... Oh no! Wait, did I?
I think
Cairo, I think I'm losing my mind. Am I losing my mind here?
it's too much dancing. It's too much dancing. You've got yourself all done
Yeah,
out, mate.
I
That's
have.
it.
Yeah. All the dancing at the start just completely
Well,
just flipped my brain on its head, which is a weird
well,
thing to say because it's in my head. But
well, we are going to go to the Russian map, and that's probably a little bit sad for others, but not sad for us because we get to cast some cafe, which we normally don't get to do. Very
it's true.
structured in that sense. I would say this, like, it does kind of for Ludens, it makes sense to me because cafe very structured. I always link it back to 20-second meta because of how
Mm.
long it takes to clear things out. So that I think that really suits Ludens. Sleepy Gang, on the other hand, very loose and can be, from what I've seen, quite fraggy. So I'm going to be interested to see how they kind of take their foot off the pedal a little bit and try and be a little bit more patient in their fragging.
Yeah, so far from Sleepy Gang, we've seen 4 different map picks this season. This makes it
Mm.
5. So I think the only maps they're yet to not play are, in fact, Coastline and Bank. So maybe we get to see them by the end of the season, but the ban phase would maybe indicate otherwise, as those are the 2 that they have banned themselves. So they do already seem to have a fairly wide map pool given their success across the board,
Yeah.
and maybe they're looking to extend that to Cafe. But like you say, this is maybe the most sensible pick from Ludens. It's somewhere that we haven't seen Sleepy Gang yet. It plays into Ludens' style of defending and attacking, and it is a very structured map. It is an incredibly checklist map.
Yeah.
It's also a map that's quite contained. There are very few sort of buffer rooms to take control of before you get to most sites, as opposed to, say, the sprawl of Villa or Bank.
Yeah.
But we don't have much longer before the game's going to start. I'm not one to usually press you for predictions or press my co-caster for prediction, but Kyra, I'd like to ask you, who do you think is going to come out on top in this one?
I think it's going to be a Sleepy Gang wing. Unfortunately, Ludens just don't look as if they're up to the previous season's form. I still think this was going to be a lot closer than the 7-1 victory that we saw last time round, but I still think this is going to go in favour of Sleepy Gang. I mean, you've got a really rigorous formula for how you work out your predictions, so I'm going to ask you, who do you think is going to win?
You do. You've taken the words right out of my mouth. I'm going to pit the mascots against each other. So Sleepy Gang and Ludens. Ludens, we know and love them. We know that they are a strange tortoise with a cannon on their back. A valid contender in most of these mascot lineups. You've got the advantage of a strong defense in the natural shell and the ranged cannon on your back. Now, Sleepy Gang, I'm trying to get the picture up, but for some reason I can't explode it large enough on my screen right now. They appear to be some kind of elf. It's like an old man. It's not an elf. It's an old man with a pipe and a raven on his shoulder. It's a very strange one. I think that in this fight, the Ludens win it because he's got a gun basically. Is that a gun in his hands?
I'm not even sure.
Hands? Is that a gun? Could you say, is that a pipe or a gun? I can't quite tell.
Look, there we go. There, he's got 2 hands. Maybe it's like a smoking flute.
A smoking flute?
I don't know. I'm kind of like.
The more I look at it, the more I think it's a rifle. But it's kind of smoking. Maybe he's got a pipe and he's holding a rifle. It's a gun, apparently. We've been told.
Right,
okay. So he's holding a gun and he's got a pipe. So this guy is not just also equipped with ranged artillery. He's, he's got a raven on his shoulder. So these guys have brought guns to a gunfight, which is important. A lot of the time, this is decided by who's decided to bring a knife to a gunfight, and this could be a more even battle of the mascots than usual.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it depends on the side, or it depends on the size of the Luden, or the turtle, or whatever it is.
That's true. There's nothing for scale.
Because, like, say for instance, that could be like a secretly like massive Area 51 size turtle, like that could just like stomp over New York, and it's like the next King Kong.
It would explain the sort of mutation of gun on back, but Yeah, that's. I guess we'll just have to see. I mean, the mascot battle seems fairly even, but like we
Yeah.
said, Sleepy Gang are the favourites going into this. There's no doubt about that. They have a perfect record so far, at least in terms of wins. They have been taken to overtime just the once, so it has been sometimes close. But recent form would suggest that they're going to come out on top here, if anything.
Yep, I totally agree. And well, as we just wait to get into the game, Jerry, I mean, we have to kind of try and break down exactly how we think both teams are going to play. I mean, I think that's probably another good point of analysis from the
Mm.
both of us. I mean, you know, as we like to try and talk about how things go. And when it comes to Sleepy Gang, I mean, as we've seen in previous games, they do like to get aggressive. They do like to get in their opponent's faces. But how does that work on a map like Cafe?
It's a little bit more challenging on the attack, especially. I feel like
Yeah,
the disadvantage here is in that Ludens have picked Cafe, meaning that Sleepy Gang get to pick their side. I would be very surprised if they don't go for defense first here, because then that enables a very aggressive style of play on the defense, where you're peeking a hell of a lot of windows, where you're creating basically a pain for the hackers to get even close to the building, and that will play into their hands. It's much harder to replicate that kind of run and gun style on attack on Cafe, so they will want to rack up as many rounds as they can against
yeah,
a usually fairly methodical, perhaps maybe predictable Ludens side. Once
yeah,
it switches over, I can see it swinging quite considerably Ludens' way, because they have the discipline and the sort of organization as a squad to hold out and get a fair few rounds. I imagine they take bar, I imagine they take kitchen, and they put up a good fight on their tertiaries. So it may well depend on how well these attacks go for Sleepy Gang.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, I think Ludens might start on the attack, considering when we look at it. I think Ludens, they pick the map, so therefore the opponents pick the side, which should be defense, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it's Luden's map pick, correct? So
Yeah.
Sleepy Gang are the one picking side, and that's why I'm saying I think that they probably
Oh,
take
yeah,
defense,
yeah.
right?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
apologies.
So it's how well their defenses go at the very start,
Yeah.
and then how well Luden's attacks go at the start. So
Okay.
if Ludens can put together a decent attack on Cafe, then that's something, because honestly, this is one of the more defender-sided maps that we've seen.
Yeah.
Interestingly, at the Mexico Major, it kind of veered more towards attacker-favoured, weirdly. But I think that was because we didn't see much of it at all, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. There was barely any Cafe. It took
That was the
a very
Consulate
long
Major?
time. Yeah, that was it. It was the Consulate Major. It took ages before we
Yeah.
even saw a Cafe. So then when it came up, it was a little bit skewed. But well, we've got plenty of bank stats and cafe stats from this major already. Probably already more cafes than we've seen
Yeah.
in recent memory here or at the Sweden Major than in the recent stages and Mexico Major. But either way, that's a different tournament. Let's talk about Bull and the
Yeah.
fact that Sleepy Gang so far, as we've mentioned, they've had such a wide pool. They have played 4 different maps, and we're about to see a
Yeah.
5th.
Well, I mean, this is going to really help them when it comes into playoffs here, Jerry, if they even get put into playoffs. Obviously, that top spot gets guaranteed into the LAN down in London. But, like, well, with that being the case, it only puts them in good stead in the fact that, well, you kind of have to look at it from both sides. Are they letting too much away? Are they letting too much of their strategy away to other teams? Or are they be able to hide more things because of the fact that they're consistently moving from map to map?
It's an interesting one, because at the moment as well, because this is one of the teams, as most of the teams are in Bull, that have come together as part of the drafting system. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily the case that they have strats for every single map.
Yeah, that's
This
true.
is a little bit more puggy than your average league in that sense,
Yeah.
at least in the early stages. And I think Sleepy Gang have lent into that by just saying, you know what, we're banning Bank, we're banning Coastline, whatever else happens, we'll go there. Like, we don't really care. So
Yeah.
it might be that they're just relying on that individual skill, and to be fair to them, they have shown that they have that in spades. So
Yeah.
now we just get to see how it plays out on a slightly more kind of contained, more organized map than the ones that they've been playing so far. Not that, they played Clubhouse in Oregon and they rocked it there. So we know that they can do it. It's just whether the Ludens I feel like this is a great test. To come up against the Ludens on Cafe is a really good test of how you deal with a very structured, organized side. And that will be probably the biggest thing that Sleepy Gang have to overcome today.
Yep, without a doubt, and I do believe that we are going to get right into this map very quickly. Jerry is just looking through into our live chat, but with that being the case, I wonder how this is going to go. Yes, finally we get to see the cinematics and get truly well into this map. As we've already said, we've seen plenty of Cafe this major. I hope everybody was tuning in, but now if you're tuning in here, we get to watch some of our very own players get into the Russian Cafe Dostoevsky. Sorry, I couldn't even speak there. But when it comes to bans, I imagine straight away we're going to see the English operator straight out the map pool.
Almost certainly, and it's a formality really at this point, but perhaps that formality will be somewhat delayed as Flores is the first to go. Also a fairly standard ban on Cafe of most maps. Does force Ludens into thinking whether they want to go for the Thatcher ban or not, because usually this is, in the interplay of bans you expect that team defending first is going to ban that Thatcher. Sleepy Gang sort of dealing them that card there straight out of Flores' hand and saying we're going to take the initiative here and say that you can't attack with this straight off the bat. So that's an interesting move from Sleepy Gang, going for the Thatcher ban, or forcing the Thatcher ban from Ludens rather. Ludens now get to respond with their defense, and it's a bit more free the way it works. Kaid going to be off the table, and he is an almost essential part of every defense on Cafe if he's available. So no surprise to see him gone, especially with the Thatcher gone. The strength that he lends any setup with, some of the placements that he can manage, is just incomparable. So you're looking at your bandits, you're looking at your mutes to provide that kind of wall denial now, possibly impact tricking, but there's really not too many locations where that's viable on this map. Wamai, the final one to go, and you look at him and you think he's just gotten a decent buff recently with more magnets to be tossed out, more potential disruption to throw in the direction of the attackers as they attempt to throw their nades and such like at you. So no surprise to see him gone on a map where he's always been a staple.
Yep, I mean, he really has. Thank God he doesn't have that shield anymore, else we'd never see the back end of him. But right now,
he'd be an insta-ban all the time if he still had the shield with this current buff.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, man. And well, we're actually seeing something interesting. Valkyrie through the ban phase, and we're going to get picked up straight away. Obviously, maybe a hint towards one of the other sites, maybe a hint that it may be a reading defense to try and throw off their opponents, but no, it will be bar and cocktail. Interestingly enough, though, Jerry, Valkyrie, this is probably one of her best maps. You think of how she can throw those cams outside, those like kind of really weird angles that you can get with the cams. Interesting that she's actually got through the bans when you consider the fact that, well, Wamai is strong, Cade is strong, but information is always king in Siege.
I have to agree with you there as well, this being a very information heavy game, and the fact that Valkyrie can get those cams outside. This is a perfectly square map, almost exactly, and it's one of those cases where you stick a cam in the corner of a map outside, you've got full coverage on two whole sides of the building, and there's so much that goes on outside the map on this map in particular, the roof of course being of utmost importance too, and usually you'll see a cam tossed up there, but quite often attackers will be checking for those. It's the ones outside that are really tough to spot. You see she's already put all of hers out, and with no outdoor cams, it looks like it's slightly more interior intended, so we'll see how that plays for Sleepy Gang. Maybe not fulfilling my sort of prediction before the game of peeking every window, making sure that the attackers can't get close to the building. They're a little bit more conservative for the time being, at least, but certainly don't chalk it off as any sort of non-possibility. They have the potential to be that aggressive.
Yep, certainly could at any moment pop in. Well, we do have a Valkyrie on the roam. You are apparently down on White Stairs, Jerry, just taking your time and peeking out, making sure no one actually enters in towards that freezer area. I believe that's 3 roamers, the Jaeger, the Valkyrie, and the Mute all off-site, knackered, and I believe that is Matty just to hold it down themselves, and just like that we have our entry frag. There goes your smoke, a huge pick for the side of the Ludens in this Cafe matchup.
Excellent entry there, finding the smoke, like you say, massive value for the attacking side. They have Thinker on board as well, so in case you're unaware, those boosts do get countered by the gas canisters, but Cyber taking down KK is putting a massive dent in Luden's attack plans, losing the Hibana this early on. They thank their lucky stars they brought that redundancy factor in the ace. They do still have some potential for hard breach, but look at the drones. 2 drones remaining for Ludens. This is awful drone economy by any standards, and it means that they're going to really struggle when it comes to the late round, pinning down the locations of these anchors, and they haven't even gotten control of Piano yet. Knackered sitting behind the shield with a couple of ADSs to boot, and he doesn't have to worry about being scouted out. In fact, it's the defenders who are doing all the spying on Ludens right now, and you can see a sneaky surprise going to be dealt the way of these attackers. The C4 comes out, but it's a little late. Cyber, however, does take out Proctor as the call still valuable to the defense. And Sleepy Gang really, with this kind of intel advantage and man advantage and time on their side, it's just a formality before we see them rack up their first round. What can Ludens do about it, though?
No, I mean, they need to get their first picks. There we go. The information comes out, but it's Cyber to react first. Triple kill, but Syrup's going to help out here. 4 and 1. Make that 4 and 0. No players left on the board as Sleepy Gang come alive with Luden's push. They just pick it up, and as easy as you like, Jerry, just like that. Sleepy Gang are able to pick that up. I mean, after such a great opening for Ludens, getting that smoke, I mean, it just seemed as if they started to fall apart there. But, I mean, they couldn't get Red Breach open, I believe. All the players just started to pile in through awkward angles, a bit disjointed in their push, and just like that, I mean, Sleepy Gang just reacted to the push.
The biggest problem for me was definitely the droning, though. Like, you can't be left with 2 drones with 80 seconds left. It just, you saw how much it stunted their attack. And that was at a point where there were roamers downstairs still. You need a pin on them at the very least to make something happen. And they just didn't have any map control, basically. They got that early pick, but I feel like it might have just been an overinvestment of that drone utility that got them there, and they stalled out beyond that. So they're going to be hoping to keep their drones alive this time around. They've already lost 1 in the opening few seconds of prep phase, but they're going to be a lot more conservative with the remaining, you would hope. Nope, there goes another one. Let's play count the drone deaths. I'm sure Sleepy Gang are doing that exactly right now, as they are bringing the Mozzie Mute and visual combo, so countering the drone play is certainly on their agenda. They were able to do it quite considerably well last time round without any of these operators in tow. Makes you wonder whether they're maybe over-investing in that, as they don't have the Goyo, they don't have nearly as much sort of utility soak in the same sense as they did last time, that should their roamers actually be caught out, the drone work might not even matter when it comes to the execute with this lineup.
Yeah, without doubt, and obviously with the fact that Ludens are that more kind of methodical, take that more methodical approach, sorry. I mean, this could really mean that they will really go head first into this roam game, but right now it doesn't seem to be the case. I don't believe we see anybody on the roof just yet, Jerry. But I really think that maybe the Ludens, yep, I do see people going up on the ascend, up towards that top of a cafe. So therefore, I believe they're going to try and attack this roam game head on, which I think could only lead to disaster.
Well, we'll see. I do have faith in the fact they have brought the Nomad along. Very strong pick here. So yeah, if they do manage to get some control, then they don't necessarily need to be worried about their rear, and that's one of the most important things on Cafe. You really only have 2 staircases to guard once you've gained control of the top floor, but so frequently we see quick retakes of these staircases of the top floor by defenders after attackers have managed to claim control, and it's a real sign of a bit of negligence really from attacking sides when defenders get away with that. So the Nomad just adds a bit of security. Jobu on this rappel, you can see he's got a whiff of the visual, but the drone work coming in is of course going to be stunted by his native ability, that ERC cloaking device, which he's going to turn on right now. Proctor finding Cyber around killers. That's a nice start for Ludens. They found the opening frag last time round, but it didn't translate into a round win. Syrup, just missing out on that opportunity as he gives his location away, and Proctor will duck down inside of Reading. They're hunting the Vigil as well, but he will make his presence known as he takes down KK, and suddenly we've got a little duel on our hands between Knackered and Proctor, but Knackered takes his opportunity to move up the white stairs. He senses BJK hunting him down, and now he can move up the stairs completely safe 3 versus 4. How has this happened? Look, he's got the top floor in his hands, and there's only a minute left, Cairo. Syrup manages to find Jobu and is down in the process. Proctor will pick up that frag, doing a couple of squats in celebration, but it's all kicking off on the top floor, on the middle floor right now, Cairo.
Oh, Knackered on for a triple, but can he close it out? Proctor K has managed to pick up the diffuser, and Knackered just taking his time. He's absolutely popped off so far here, Jerry. 4-0, but it looks as if Proctor K doesn't even want to deal with it. Wants to try and head down red. Doesn't look the right way, but finally does. Picks up Matty. Well, that's a good frag for him. He needs to try and push through in towards Bakery. He goes, but Jerry has reacted, had that camera, has the information, getting pinged away. That Malusi device making things even worse for Proctor K as he's trying to rotate away, try and find some sort of ingression in towards the site, but already look at this, Knackered has rotated, he lies in wait, his jaws open, and finally they close down on Proctor K as well. Another round goes in favour of this defensive side, and right now they look as if they almost look undefeatable, Jerry.
Yeah, that was a solid round for completely different reasons from Sleepy Gang. A very good roam, making sure that they played off each other and refragging each other very nicely, leaving only Proctor K in the 1 versus 3, as you see here. He tried his darndest, but it was just such a good roam that they lost too many bodies, and you can't really recover from that, especially with the time working against you. They wasted a lot of time on that middle floor, the defense did. And with only a minute left to execute, and you're still like sort of squirming around the middle floor, that's not what you want. I think that, you know, hindsight is 2020, and perhaps a direct push may have been the order of the day through Bakery or somewhere, but you never know. Sleepy Gang, they haven't been called into action just yet when it comes to having to scramble. They never looked panicked. They looked very composed. And Ludens, I think, need to try and take the initiative on some of these rounds and surprise Sleepy Gang here or there. Maybe just, you know, a rush strat early on in an attack. Even if it fails, it forces the defenders to have to play a little bit more conservatively. It can dent their confidence a little bit. Yeah. Even if it costs you a round, sometimes the mental game is more important, and right now I don't see Ludens in it in the mental game.
Yeah, without it. I mean, I think it was Meepy that said the best time to rush is on the first round. But I guess the best time to rush after the first round is the second round.
Yeah, and then the third round.
Yeah, then the third round. So we're now on the third round. Are we going to see a rush? Probably not, as we do see Knackered has got that pulse heart scanner, trying to look for maybe some beating hearts, but they'll be looking to cease them later on. Right now he's going to get all the information, and Ludens have played directly into this, and it looks as if it's going to be very LATAM-esque, as they were the ones to really innovate this kind of mining side into dining take. And, well, as I say that, I think there's only 2 players over at that side.
Yeah, it's a challenging move to make, and we have seen it recently where it even involves taking control of white stairs and making sure that you have that angle dealt with, the real problem one that means that pushing in, as Proctor K is doing right now, is challenging to do, but he doesn't know that there's an echo drone reading into his exact location. Ludens should have their number up here if Sleepy Gang can give the communication to the necessary parties and move people around a bit. Right now you can see Ludens, they are also sending a task force towards that cocktail side of things, maybe to pressure some of those people that are holding, but KK expects the rotation back of Knackered. Once again, Ludens find an opening frag. They need to translate this into a round win. Sooner or later, the tertiary site may be just where that happens.
Finally, they shut down Knackered, but they haven't even dealt with the vertical presence up above, as we do see the Valkyrie is there looking to maybe pop this hatch, but it's KK to go down, and that's the Habana, Jerry. That's your hard breach that you would maybe be looking to breach in towards, well, I guess, in towards the reading room if you really wanted to prove for your execute. Here we go. An absolute freebie for Syrup, and look goes down. Seems as if Ludens are just giving away freebies to Sleepy Gang, and that's just where the problem lies.
One of the issues with going for this site is you need speed if you're going to be taking through train. As you can see, Syrup finding that gap in the knowledge of Ludens making his way into Piano and just getting the freebie off the intel. Now, again, a 4 versus 3 for Sleepy Gang as they turn that man deficit into a man advantage for themselves. They're now utilizing that C4 to create a rotation through the trapdoor, but just a signal for Cyber to strike instead from range through the site and through those preset holes. An air jab goes off, indicating the location of the the Valkyrie, but again, Cyber is the one to mop up where the Valk probably should have instead. He can claim both of those kills, but I mean, Syrup can take a lot of credit for the way they won that round.
Yep, and they certainly can. I mean, see, the thing is, though, just the way Sleepy Gang are playing in unison, it looks like a complete unit, you know what I mean? And I mean, for instance, the fact that the Valkyrie was able to pop that hatch and then Cyber immediately swings off of the confusion. I mean, that's the thing, that's just kind of shows you the quality of Sleepy Gang. Looks as if Knackered's saying that he's playing Rook this round, but I'm not seeing any Rook. Is Syrup going to switch on to Rook?
Mental warfare. I mean, that's Syrup moving on to Mirror. So Knackered is hard sticking the Goyo. And in fact, it's going to be a Valkyrie that comes out while we see Luke playing Blaz, interestingly enough. Of course, he's going to be 6-picking because Osa is currently in quarantine. Not for much longer, though, as the new season looks set to drop in a few weeks' time. Can't wait for that. I know the reveal has just taken place on the Rainbow Six main channel, so I'll be certainly catching up with all the tasty intel once this is over. But for the time being, we're here. Oh my goodness. Okay, I've just been given an interesting bit of information in my head. I won't divulge, but thank you, Pete, for that one. So, we've got ourselves round 4. Back up to the bar we go. Sleepy Gang getting that perfect circuit. Exactly what you want on any map for the defense. And Ludens, as predicted, struggling on these attacks so far.
Yes, they certainly are. Well, we'll need to see. I mean, this is looking like Luden's worst nightmare happening right before our eyes as they almost out of the game, especially after this round as it goes 4-0. And, well, if it goes 4-0, then Sleepy Gang have 2 attempts to really take an advantage on towards their attack. And, well, if there's something to go by, Jerry, I mean, Sleepy Gang, they're pretty good at their attacks. But right now, we need to see how the things go. Is we need to see Ludens actually make the ascend, and already Sleepy Gang putting ourselves into aggressive positioning like Jerry, always on the bottom of this white stairs. Ludens were able to get the first frag on this site last time, and already they've done so just like that. They take out Cyber, another prominent player of Sleepy Gang. But what point I wanted to make was the fact that Ludens were able to get this first kill last time. They weren't able to make it count.
This is never been a problem for Ludens on the attack. They've always gathered this opening frag. I'm intrigued to see how Luke leverages this Glaz. At what point does the Glaz become really powerful on this map? I can't really think of many inventive uses for him, to be quite honest with you, but we'll see. Maybe he knows something I don't. Knackered is going to take out Proctor in the meantime, and once again the 5 versus 4 becomes a 4 versus 3 in favour of Sleepy Gang. Down goes BJK before any of those air jabs really can be set in any useful location. Knackered 7-1, and he will be taken out by the Glaz walking into Cigar Shop. 3 versus 3. The C4 will sail out. It's shot out mid-air there. Lucky for some, Ludens keep themselves alive for the fight. 1 minute 20 remaining, 3 versus 3, and this looks like their best shot at getting a plant down, as they have managed to establish some control and they've got a take going.
Yep, certainly there is a minute left of this round. 3 versus 3. All in all, things looking a lot more better for the Ludens on this round here, Jerry. And, well, there's still plenty of information, as we did see there was a Valkyrie cam to get pinged out. Jerry the man to hold down white if any push coming through there, but it's set up to react and towards this cocktail area. Look at Kiki all the way down to almost 1 HP, but can they make it work? There's plenty of ADSs to stop any flashes going out. Can't even get out, and Jerry reacts, takes down Kiki. Can he get one more? No, he can't. Smoke grenades to deny any sorts of push, but it's Yobo just to walk straight in. But look, just like that, careless, and towards Freezer. Giobu has to make this work here. He's the only man left. He has dropped down below, but he will get pinged out by that camera. All players training their guns towards this white stairs area. Giobu starting to push up here. Syrup's going to play in tandem and swings off the engage from the other player, and that's just well played. A mature performance from Sleepy Gang so far, making it work when it was looking like it almost didn't.
Yeah, some great responsive play there, reactive play by Sleepy Gang. Forced into a bit of a tricky situation. First time that we've seen really today that they're maybe on the more uncomfortable side of things. But like I say, they just reacted well. So 4-0 the scoreline. And this is beginning to look desperate for Ludens. You really don't want to let more than 4 or 5 slip on the attacking side at the very least, and you can see the confidence with which Sleepy Gang are moving forward, exemplified by Syrup's 6th pick right here on your screen, ladies and gents. That is the Mozzie to Caveira 6th pick, ditching the selfless utility of the pest. Well, not entirely selfless. You do potentially catch drones for yourself, but the Cav. I mean, if we see an interrogation, then I'm a very happy man today, Kara, I'll tell you that.
I'm sure they will probably get a scream in our ears from a producer if we do see an interrogation. But at the same time, only to see if that is the case. Looks as if the Cav is going to go up and do the hatch, and she is a very selfish operator, I should say. Only to see whereabouts she hides. I think it will be in towards trains, but whether Ludens decide to meet her head on is another question indeed. I mean, I would prefer to see Ludens maybe go flat, maybe go in towards Bakery, see if they can kind of clear that out and just focus on the simple basics like breaching, clearing rooms, and then just kind of solidifying that. But on top of that, we do have like a Cav and
they
a
are
Vigil.
preparing to do exactly that. Look at that.
Oh
Look at
my
this.
god.
They've got the Gon 6 at the ready. They are ready to storm the gate here. Bakery and Prep are clear. It doesn't look like there's anyone on the vertical at this moment. You just see right now, they are met with some gunfire from Jerry, and here we go. BJK takes down KK for the opening kill around, but at least refrags his only teammate. Knackered finds BJK in response, and this prep push has fallen flat on its face. Cyber comes in from double Bakery and takes in 2 for his name. Now Luke needs to pick up the pieces. 1 versus 3, and this rush has gone horribly wrong through the Bakery. It's undercooked, and Syrup is the one to run out the top and finish off the last with the Louison. Sometimes it's just not your day, is it, Kyra?
I mean, it just seems everything Ludens try, it just doesn't work, Jerry. It's just one of those days at the office where you would really just wish you could go to the toilet and for the toilet just to flush you down. I don't know where I was going with that.
Consumed by the loo, yeah.
Yeah, it was like that scene in Train Spotting. I don't know.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no! If you watch Train Spotting, if you've seen the scene I'm talking about, it's absolutely disgusting, right? but you know
it's
what?
not quite as disgusting as this. 5-0.
Oh no, it is. It's so much worse. It's so much more worse. Like,
okay,
honestly,
if it ended up being 7-0,
no,
would
nothing could compare to this. It's awful. It's absolute. Jerry, I'm going to put it to you this way. The description for the scene is called World's Worst Toilet, right? This is the 80s. I think it's the 80s or the 90s, I'm not too sure. I believe it's the 80s or the 90s, right? On top of that, this is the bookies, where there's just loads of smoking happening. Like, you can imagine, I'm getting the heebie-jeebies thinking about it.
I dread to think. I've seen Slumdog Millionaire. There's a pretty bad toilet in that film, but I think we should probably move on because we're finally out of the bathroom. Is there any bathroom here on Cafe? There isn't.
Yeah, well, we're looking at the toilet right now.
Oh yeah, of course it's bathroom. Yeah. Why am I so stupid? Yeah, we got.
You're not stupid. You're not stupid.
Bathroom is the core of this entire defense. Right? Is there a bathroom on Cafe? Yes. Yes, of course there is. That's not a bathroom. Max, that's not a bathroom. Yeah. That's a kitchen, my boy.
I was about to say, it's technically not a bathroom because it doesn't have a bath. Oh no, there it goes! KK doesn't even get a chance.
Knackered, as some may call him. I like to call him just knackered, but KK, well, that is not the way you want to start your round. Proctor does take out Syrup as the run out, maybe showing a little bit of overconfidence there. That's the first time Sleepy Gang have actually gotten the opening frag, I believe, in a round, and this time it's Ludens who actually respond with the refrag, but Knackered still on the prowl with that heartbeat sensor. He's got Jerry on this floor. They know that Proctor is around hell right now, and Knackered finishes him off with the pistol. Down to second, the shotgun comes out to finish it off for a triple on the round, and that may be the death knell sounding for Ludens here as they find themselves 2 versus 4 with most of the round remaining. Cyber taking out BJK. They want to get this done and dusted. Luke, the last alive, he's just stranded on the roof with Diffuser all the way down on the east balcony. Sends out an E1D, but I can't see him pulling this one back. Cyber collects a second for his trouble. That is it. That is a 6-0 half from Sleepy Gang. Ludens, they are having a rough day, a rough couple of days at the Buell office. That's only 1 round in their past 2 entire games should they fail to close this one out or bring this one back in any fashion.
That is absolutely gorgeous gameplay there from Knacker to pick up those 2 frags, and well, Cyber with a lovely flick at the end. Jerry, it looks as if it's all but over, but as we said, Ludens potentially could be a lot better on the defense. So I'm going to ask the question, comeback?
No. No, I mean, from what I've seen, Ludens are mudded. They are mudded right now. They do not have the mental capacity to do this. It's what they need to do is they need to take this and they need to try and stretch it out. If they can gather a couple of rounds here, then this is a route back, maybe for another day. I do not see them finishing this. If we see a reverse sweep now, I will be gobsmacked, because this has been not just like a 6-0 does Sleepy Gang not enough credit right here. Ludens fully, like, they are in this position because they're not performing well, and they know it. Like, they need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, get a couple of rounds under their belts, and maybe think for another day, are we going to do this? Are we going to be able to recover? The triple Pogmat coming out under Red Patch. That's some BM right there. I mean, if that works, then we got a clip. We've got a clip on that.
Fastest ace ever? Question mark?
Maybe. It was a pretty good record set last season.
Yeah, so it was. I think it was 17 seconds. I think that's what we decided on.
From kill 1 to kill 5, it was 2 seconds as well.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so fast, so fast on that consulate.
Well, anyway.
It was.
I was just going to quickly say, I was going to move us on, keep us rolling with the punches right now, as we do have a Cali that we need to talk about. Interestingly enough, I don't know why the Cali was not typically used in the top floor. C4 does go out, and just managing to stay alive is Jerry the Cali. And they are just going to get rid of those pog mats just like that.
They're going to see that and think, seriously, Ludens? Are you serious about this? You're 6-0 down and you're doing this sort of thing? Nice little kill there by Proctor. And he gets a second! That's a great little play from the Bandit. He keeps Ludens in this one. 5 versus 3. This may be the biggest advantage they've had in any round thus far. So, the question is, can Sleepy Gang perform under real pressure? They do, of course, have a 6-round buffer to work with, so it's not the worst situation imaginable, but they want to get this done and dusted as quickly as possible. BJK takes a bit of flack here as Matty catches him rotating there. A little bit lax from the Valk, if you ask me, but they do, of course, still have that man advantage.
Yep, they do have the man advantage. They have that buffer, as you said. And, well, I mean, I believe it was yesterday, PGL, G2, they had a 6-round buffer. I mean, look what happened there. Ended up in OT. But I wanted to see if this is going to be the case. I want to see exactly what's happening, as we do see Anada's going to sail through and pick up that kill on towards the Frosty.
There's no denial.
Luke. Yep, no denial at all. There's not even a catcher on the team. As look at this, they are starting to walk through the map and clear out the remaining players. The Bandit tries to react. It's 3-1. Luke has disconnected. He has called it quits as the C4 does go up above, waiting to see if maybe someone will walk onto the default plant. But no, the plant is going down on Cocktail. That C4 is negligible as KK decides to go elsewhere, go on a walk. GG is getting put in the chat, but looks as if KK may have a response here. And no, just like that, Matty will trade it out. 7-0 for Sleepy Gang against Ludens. Not even a response here, Jerry. Well, a couple of rounds they may have looked as if they had a chance. Realistically, they didn't.
Now, before I give Sleepy Gang the credit they deserve for a fantastic performance, I am concerned about Ludens, and I have to voice this. It just looks as though there's something internally that's not quite working. I have my suspicions about what's going on just internally in general. Luke disconnecting at the end, was that a DC? Was that just a lack of faith? I don't know. It seemed as though they were potentially on board to win that game, and things just started falling apart, and then was that giving up we saw? I don't know. Ludens, something is rotten right now. They need to work it out, but they have at least a bit more time between now and the next Playday to figure that out themselves. Let's move on to Sleepy Gang, because my oh my was that a performance from them. They were absolutely dominant from start to finish. Some sick shots being hit by them all the way around as well. So very, very nicely done.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed to be working as a unit, as we said. I mean, they're really rocking this run and gun play style. I mean, it was the meta. I don't know if you can technically still call it the meta, but all in all, Jerry, I mean, Sleepy Gang is looking like one of our favourites to top this top the league, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, they've got now 17 points under their belt. That is
Yeah.
quite a tally. They can't be surpassed on this Playday. We know that much, right? They are sitting pretty for the time being at the very top for at least another week. So, there's not much else to say about that game, really. It was such a whitewash that a lot of the sort of in-depth analysis you expect from a cafe just isn't relevant, right? Cafes very rarely end 7-0, and that was something I was not expecting. I was thinking that Ludens may well put up a decent fight there, but like I said, they just need to take this time to reassert themselves. I'll give Luke the benefit of the doubt there. Of course, don't know for certain whether that was intentional disconnects or whether it was just a really, really bit of a real bit of bad timing. But we'll put that to one side. Sleepy Gang, congratulations on your 3 points. We're going to go to a short break, but do not go far, because we will be coming back in a very short moment with aces versus average players only. See you then.
Themselves, and just like that, we have our entry frag.
Do get countered by the gas canisters, but Cyber taking down KK.
There we go, the information comes out, but it's Cyber to react first. Triple kill, but Syrup's going 4 and 1. Make that 4-0. No players left on the board. As
that cocktail side of things, maybe to pressure some of those people that are holding, but KK
wants to prove if you're executing. Here we go, an absolute freebie for Syrup, and look goes.
An air jab goes off, indicating the location of the useful location. Knackered 7 and 1, and he will be taken out by the Glaz walking.
This is to stop any flashes going out. Can't even get out, and Jerry reacts. Takes any sorts of push, but it's Yobo just to walk straight in. But look, just like that. Push up here, Syrup's going to play in tandem and swings off the.
He takes down KK for the opening kill around, but at least refrags his only teammate. Knackered finds BJK in response, and this prep push has fallen flat on its face. Cyber comes in from Double Bakery and takes Undercooked, and Syrup is the one to run out the top and finish.
Oh no, there it goes. KK doesn't even get it.
That is not the way you want to start your round. Proctor does take out Syrup as the run out Jerry on this floor. They know that Proctor is around hell right now, and Knackered finishes him off with the pistol. Down to second, the shotgun comes out to finish it off for a triple. I can't see him pulling this one back. Cyber collects a second for his trouble. See that thing? Seriously, Ludens? Are you serious about this? You're 6-0 down and you're doing this sort of thing? Nice little kill there by Proctor. And he gets a second! That's as quickly as possible. BJK takes a bit of flak here as Matty catches him rotating there.
See exactly what's happening as we do see a Nada's going to sail through and pick up that kill, walk through the map and clear out the remaining players. The Bandit tries to react. It's decides to go elsewhere, go on a walk. GG's getting put in the chat bonds here. And no, just like that, Matty will trade it out. 7-0 for
could have been. Thinking I would know what the future bring. All the highs and lows. Said I'm gonna win, though the world might spin. Now I'm sitting here like I'm no one. It rains down on me. All the phone calls I'm ignoring. See, I'm a mess, just trying to guess my way through this. Just don't get enough of me. 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 Worry way too much. Got a policy. Didn't bring me luck, just the honesty. Now it's all on me if I'm gonna win. Oh, I'm just gonna get up. It rains down on me. All the phone calls I'm ignoring. See, I'm a mess, just trying to guess my way through this. Just don't get enough of me. 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 Wanna go back in time when everything seems so clear, and when the problems we carried weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me. Weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me. Weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me. Weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me. Weren't even problems at all. Just don't get enough of me.
The sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow. Your will is my law, I'ma let you be the boss, 'cause I'll go where you go. I'll take you to a place we can see it all. Step off the edge, I can break your fall. Your will is my law, I'ma let you be the boss, 'cause I'll go where you go. When you fall down, I'll get you back up again. The things you try are things that you won't regret. We are kings of the world, and tonight is our playground. We are kings of the world, and anywhere it's homebound. We are kings of the world, and tonight is our playground. We are kings of the world, and anywhere it's homebound. We are kings of the world. playground. We are kings of the world, and anywhere it's homebound. We are kings of the world, and tonight is our playground. We are kings of the world.
Can't find a time where I can tell ya what I feel now. Been biting my tongue for a while. The words just wanna come out. I'm too afraid to be rejected. It's so expected. I feel like I'm out of my mind, but I know I can't deny you. I am so alienated. Sitting on planet X. I'm becoming the person I've hated. Wonder what will happen next. Yeah, I don't know why. It's like a charge around us that just feels right. Can't get my head around it. I can never hit the brakes. Every time you touch me, babe, a charge around us that just feels right. Can't get my head around it. I can never hit the brakes. Every time you touch me, babe, you send me right out into space. You send me right out into space. Space, right into space. My head tells me to stop, but there is nothing I can do now. When I'm with you, I lose myself. I feel good. Oh, yeah, I don't know why. It's like a charge around us that just feels right. Can't get my head around it. I can never hit the brakes. Every time you touch me, babe, you send me right out into space. You send me right out into space. I'm buzzing, let's drink up. You deaf look like big fun. Come on, let's get it on. Like that Marvin Gaye song. I'm stunning, you love it. Come on, give me something. I know that you want it. Come on, give me something. The night is young and so are we. So maybe you should leave with me. The night is young and so are we, baby. The night
like a light, lighting up in the dark. You make it right, I forgot how to act, it's so classic. Every time you make me nervous and I lose my words. It's been a while since I forgot the most simple words. I feel calm when you're around, like nothing can break me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod. That we are two peas in a pod. Now I know why it never worked out before. High low, it would always turn out bad, so bad. But every time we start a fight, we always stop in time. We both know how to be gentle, never cross the line. I feel calm when you're around, like nothing can break me. Yeah, yeah. We are two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod. That we are two peas in a pod, a roller coaster to walk out the door. We could be in control, but we just keep on putting on a show. And baby, I don't mind it. Let them talk, they don't get it. That we are two peas in a pod. I know. It's scary sometimes, but I know we're safe. Two peas in a pod, a roller coaster to walk out the door. We could be in control, but we just keep on putting on a show. And baby, I don't mind it. Let them talk, they don't get it. That we are two peas in a pod. We are two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod. That we are two peas in a pod, a roller coaster to walk out the door. We could be in control, but we just keep on putting on a show. And baby, I don't mind it. Let them talk, they don't get it. That we are two peas in a pod. Strangers again. When you stepped into my life, such a magic feeling when you tore down my walls. I wish I could go back to right before you told me I'd try to change it all. But look at us now, could have gone so far. It hurts to realize we're parted. Yeah, look at us now, this is who we are. And I just know things will never be the same. We're like strangers again. Strangers again. We're like strangers again. I just know things will never be the same. We're like strangers again. have tried much harder. All we have are scars. You said we'd get so high, higher up than heaven. You said we'd reach the stars. But look at us now, we could have gone so far. It hurts to realize we're parted. And look at us now, this is who we are. And I just know things will never be the same. We're like strangers again, again, again. Strangers again, again, again. We're like strangers again, again, again. I just know things will never be the same. We're like strangers again. Like strangers again. Strangers again. Now that we parted, I better get started. It's time to get my head up again. You said that you had to. I'll try to forget you. Just didn't think we'd end up this way. Like strangers again. Strangers again. Like strangers again. Oh, I know things will never be the same. Like strangers again. Like strangers again. Like strangers again.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. All that I crave when you're away, nights are sleepless. Do we need space? Yeah, maybe a break. Boy, you're my weakness. Give and we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. just can't stop thinking about you. I just can't stop thinking about you. I was just somebody longing for someone to hold me. It could be anybody, but you chose me somehow. Now I'm crazy, thinking about you all the time, like crazy, knowing you're here by my side. And I was doing fine on my own, but baby, you make me a whole lot better. A whole lot better. A whole lot better. A whole lot better. You've seen all my bad sides, yet nothing that I do seems to make you wanna run away. Oh, and I'm so thankful that you found me. Waist deep, thinking about you all the time, like crazy, knowing you're here by my side. And I was doing fine on my own, but baby, you make me a whole lot better. A whole lot better. A whole lot better. A whole lot better. Waist deep, thinking about you all the time, like crazy, knowing you're here by my side. And I was doing fine on my own, but baby, you make me a whole lot better. A whole lot better. A whole lot better. A whole lot better. A whole lot better.
Say you love me, say you don't. Just give me something so I can move on. Pull me closer or push me away. Let me know if we'll be okay. 'Cause I can't stand another moment of you playing with my mind. I'm so tired of never knowing, so spell it out. 'Cause I won't stay awake till morning, I won't stay another night. If you're feeling something for me, say it now. 'Cause I can't wait for you forever. 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 I've been patient with your love. Sometimes you don't show it enough. And I wish you could open up and take my worry in and make it stop. 'Cause I can't stand another moment of you playing with my mind. I'm so tired of never it's not too late to be heard. So tell me what I need to know. Tell me what I need to know. And stop this charade. I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Badass University All-Stars League. Cairo is doing a lovely dance to try and put me off, as I did at the very start of the broadcast today. But I'm more professional than that. I will not be caught off guard. And as I say that, I've suddenly forgotten the names of the teams competing. Here they are. They are aces and average players only. See, did it in one. We're good.
See,
Cairo.
just like that. I can't do that. I just can't do it. I don't have that distinct
Step to my
focus.
level. Step to
I know.
my level.
Listen, mate. If you want to give us an invite up to Yukon, I'll happily step up to that level.
I can't just pass those out. I have not the power to do this, unfortunately. But
That's a shame.
we do have the power to get some tasty stats on the screen, because aces and average players only. So far today, or so far this season, I should say, excuse me, they've had a fairly decent season. Aces not quite as good as average players only, sitting on 9 points behind average players 11. But you can see individual performances have been pretty impressive on either side. So Spack and Weiwei being the standouts on either side here.
Yeah.
And, I mean, actually, to be fair, you've got a fair showing from the Swansea contingent here. Jaffa also rocking a positive rating, as well as Spack. Olizon as well coming in there on from Swansea on the side of aces. Doesn't have stats yet. That's probably down to him having not performed or played with this team yet. As you can see, a few changes having come in. Zeven also a new name on that side. And you can see also a familiar face on the side of average players only, as Orca is coming in for this squad. So, an exciting game on our hands between two mid-table sides.
Yep, certainly is, and I mean, things that I love to see, Orca coming back into the fold of the badass teams, and also on top of that, I love to see Dumfries with terrible stats. I mean, I get to BM him when we're in VCs, so all is well with that. So I'm quite happy with this. It's going to be a good match. Obviously, Sondanos and Spack, the two main players to be looking out for on aces. But I mean, we look towards APO, average players only, right? And we think towards what they've got. Weiwei, really good player. I think he was on the Combat Wombats last season, if I'm not mistaken, and had a really good performance in that lower bracket run in the playoffs. Orca coming into the fold, she's very linked with fragging hard, kind of getting in the faces of the opponents. So with that, I'm looking forward to see how her how her aggressive playstyle interacts with the opponents in that front.
I'm most excited to see a game that isn't a 7-0 because we've seen a fair few of them over the past couple of days, or
Yeah.
at least washouts. Most of them involving Ludens, that's the asterisk above that. But you may have noticed as well during the break screen, we had a lot of 7-0s in that list. And one of those is not like the others because one of them was in fact a game played earlier, while the others were essentially forfeits. So hopefully we get a slightly more even game for our final one of the day. We are ready to look at the map bans, though, as we can see our faces sort of part like the Red Sea, and we get this lovely stream of maps down the middle. Oregon and Coastline, the autobans to start us off, Kyra.
Yep, certainly. Bank and Clubhouse out next. I mean, this is exactly what casters love to see. Clubhouse and Oregon straight out the fold, straight away. Kind of gutted Coastline and Bank are out. So I don't think, I think I've casted Bank once, maybe, that's it. But that does leave us with Cafe, Villa and Chalet to pick from here, Jerry. And I'd say, to be honest, I don't really know which one I'd prefer out of them. Preferably not Caf, though.
Yeah, I was just about to say that Villa or Chalet would be quite nice. So some basically the places that you'd want to go on holiday out of all of these maps. So I guess we'll get to see how those final two bans transpired in just a moment when we magic them on screen and we get an idea of where it is we're going. It will be Chalet, in fact. So Villa and Cafe banned out there. And yeah, snowy Alps. I'm excited to be here. I think Chalet's one of my favourite maps at the moment.
Yep, unfortunately, science isn't there to accompany us all the way onto the French Alps. But, well, we're here nonetheless, Jerry, and I'm quite excited. But this is the thing. When we look towards this map, as I said before, it's deceiving. Like, everyone seems to think Chalet is this chaotic Fragger style map. When you think towards it, Jerry, it's very breach centric in the way that the way that it works. The structure that you need to be very well coordinated and do all the right things. So it'll be interesting to see again, as I've said, how we look towards the likes of Orca, and I've already kind of hinted the fact that she has an aggressive play style and how that will happen with the kind of structure of the map.
Yeah, and out of these two sides, I'm not quite sure who to pin as the more aggressively favoured, but you can see obviously this is average players only map choice. And it's maybe telling that they're the ones that banned Clubhouse and Cafe, while you look at Bank and Villa as Aces bans. They're certainly the more sort of sprawling, the more roam heavy, especially out of those lots. So it might be something that's fairly even-handed, to be quite honest. I wouldn't be surprised if Aces are somewhat comfortable here. However, the sort of counter-argument to that is that on the first day of the season, they played Sleepy Gang here and lost 7-2. Now, difficult to say how much you can pull from that because, of course, first day of the season in Boole means it's probably the first time that these collection of players have played together in an organised fashion, at least in a competitive setting. And it was Sleepy Gang. So we can maybe expect them to perform a little bit better against here Team Alpha, or sorry, Average Players Only. There's too many A's. Average Players Only, who are doing not quite as well as Sleepy Gang, but still up there with some of the better teams in this league at the moment.
Yeah, without doubt. Obviously, Aces not having they're not having a bad season, but they're having a great season. They're not certainly up there with the top. And well, this is maybe their chance to kind of start that climb, start their kind of way back up to the top, and maybe be fighting for one of those upper bracket places in the playoffs that is up for grabs. And well, Jerry, I'm going to ask you. I mean, between these teams, who are you going to go for? What does your formula say?
I think the real winner here is going to be the viewers, because it's a very difficult one to call, and I'll tell you for why. Average Players Only have so far this season had very long games in general. They've gone to overtime a fair few times, twice in fact, and a lot of their wins have been very close. They've either been 7-4, 7-5, or they've gone all the way to overtime and lost it or won it. So, in fact, so far they haven't won in overtime. They've only won in regulation. So if it does go to overtime, then they have a history of bottling it slightly, potentially, at least in the past few games that they've done. So I expect that we're going to get a good showing regardless. I think that we're going to get a long Chalet, potentially 7-5, potentially in overtime. And I can't call it. I couldn't call it. I don't know enough about these teams and their play styles because we're still, halfway through the season. And these are new squads. So Aces, they'll be hoping to do a bit better than their one time that they were here before. But
Yeah.
for average players only, it's a completely new battleground.
Without a doubt. And well, we'll need to see exactly what happens. We're just waiting to get into that game, and well, we can switch it all up, Jerry. But all in all, I mean, this is the thing with Chalet again. We talk about it. Do you think we'll see a bottom floor site? Do you think that's potentially possible?
It's possible. We've seen it a fair few times from British squads, I think, for the most part. In CL, we saw Eminem take it, Viperio 86 take it in the recent playoff stage. And they've shown that it can be at least played with a strategy in mind, but it hasn't been especially successful. So it sort of plays into that stereotype that's already been established of it being the weakest site in the map. It's certainly doable, and I think it relies most heavily on the roam game. Essentially, you need to make sure that you're picking off key parts of the attack before they get a chance to utilize that, and that's very tough when part of your one of your sites is completely exposed to outside and you can't really do anything about that. So you need to make sure you're getting picks onto particularly soft destructors once they get inside, so that your head is safe, because that entire site is virtually destructible from above, and that is really what makes it one of the weaker sites in my opinion. The rest, you can defend the breaches, you can roam a bit more freely, you see foreplay from beneath, but yeah, that one's a tough one.
I think Bar Gaming is probably my favourite site out of the lot. I feel as if, like the top floor site, Master Office, is just very boring. Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? When it comes to fundamentals, it's probably the most fundamentally basic site. Just sit, wait for the attack to come back. If, for instance, if it's a Solarium take, you just kind of drop back. If it's library, you kind of have that initial presence and then drop back again, and then just wait for the breach, deny plant. Fundamentally basic. But when you look towards Bar... I
suppose the counter argument to that is that it's a nice map in the sense that you've got this variety of sites on offer. So you've got the top floor, which can feel like you're playing Clubhouse or something. Like, it's very breach centric, it's very bottlenecky. But you've also got the potential to go for someone like the bottom floor, which is very, very difficult. You've also got... Sorry, I'm being thrown off a lot here, mainly because I'm hearing myself and it's like a speech jammer effect. I'm sure that'll be fixed backstage in a moment. But here we go, into the ban phase, and Aces, with the first ban, it will be the Thatcher off the board. I'm sure that'll be fixed backstage.
Right. Well, anyway, Thatcher is getting banned out. And, well, with that being the case, Jerry, it's pretty standard. We've already talked about the breaching and capabilities on Shelley, where things can go. We're just waiting to see what APO will ban out. I imagine it will be something like a Flores, maybe even a Jackal potentially if they're wanting to make use of that roam. But no, it is the Flores that we're talking about. Very good at destroying shields, destroying all sorts of utility, the only counter being a mute. But with the jammers and how destructible they can be, then, well, probably better just to ban them out and deal with it. In terms of defenders, I imagine we would probably will see a Cade and Valkyrie ban, maybe even a Mira to throw things into the mix, depending on what teams would like to ban. There we go, Valkyrie the first one to go, potentially Mira next, considering she is great on that Bar Gaming site, but whether she stays through the bans, the Spanish operator, is another thing coming.
Second time we've seen the Flores-Thatcher duo ban today. It's a shame. I do like seeing a bit of the Spaniard on my screen. Sorry, Argentine, isn't he, Flores?
Yeah.
It's a shame, because I think he's a very effective operator on this map in particular. You think about all the different setups that can come through, especially on a bar gaming site, and he is quite often that sort of magic sauce that just cuts through the taste buds and finds the way into your mouth and gets that one thing out of the way that no one else can deal with, because the counters to him aren't the usual counters to your soft destruction. You know, you can't be delaying him with any sort of ADSs or WMIs. You've got to think about placing jammers. You've got to think about placing pests instead, or just having the heads up gameplay to, you know, shoot the drone as it's coming to you. But sometimes that's easier said than done. So, without him on the board, it's certainly a little bit more simple for these teams to defend their utility, and as such, we are going to see that Aruni and Wamai come through to deny all of these throwables.
Yep, certainly. It seems if we, I think there may be two subs coming in here. We think it's there was a sound glitch coming through, so they're just going to quickly jump out the lobby, restart the game, and get back in.
Yep.
So, yep, there we go. We're back again. You get to see our lovely faces, Jerry. But it seems as if, I've just caught it there, Aces have two substitutes for sure, because Matums and Dye aren't actually in the squad. And with that being the case, that might add another dynamic into the game.
Yeah, the whole game is going to be changed in that regard. And to be fair, you've got to also see that we saw a couple of names before we started that were slightly newer in that they'd come in and they hadn't played with the team before. Maybe these are slightly later subs. Who knows?
Yeah.
And that will impact the way that they're doing this. You know, if it's a sub that's been registered and sort of, sorted into the team for a little bit longer, then you've got a much better chance. But today, if you're dragging in a couple new players, I'm not saying I know the ins and outs completely of what's going on, but if you're bringing in a couple of new players, hypothetically, it will make an impact. So we will see if that has the kind of impact that we expect it to, but I'm sure they're capable. They've been brought in probably for a reason. So, Shally, where were we expecting to see that first sight? I didn't quite catch it on my screen.
I think it was Master.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's what you somewhat expect. It's usually a toss-up between Master and Bar Gaming. And like you mentioned, a much more sort of methodical site out of all of the sites that we come to on Chalet.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I don't know if I remember correctly. I don't know if my mind's deceiving me. I think we saw a flash onto a gridlock. I don't know if our producer can confirm that for us. But that's a very interesting pick. Obviously, I mean, there was a Nomad available. I don't know if it was 6th off of. I'm not sure. If we saw.
Apparently, it was stuck the gridlock 6th to Thinker. Interesting. So the Thinker, I suppose, obviously, she's sort of worked her way into the meta recently with the addition of the Gone 6, the addition of frags especially, because they were more recent. And people just sort of realizing, hey, the spear is a pretty kick-ass gun. She's about to get a lot stronger as well. If you didn't catch any of the reveal, but in the little downtime, I'm sure both of us did exactly the same thing. We hopped onto the stream of Twitch, rewound it a bit, found that reveal, and watched the whole dang thing. Interesting changes coming through for her. She seems to be getting stronger and stronger by the day, so I'm a little bit worried about that one, but we'll see how it pans out.
Without a doubt. I mean, the thing is, though, right, any operator that can provide 3 sorts of destructive capabilities, utility that provides destructive capabilities and has 3 uses of them is automatically going to find their way with a higher pick rate.
Take Yana. As soon as she got that Gone 6, it was like, now there's an alternative to Zofia and Ashe that I'm thinking about bringing in my main lineup.
It's not even... Hyana was in a good place anyway with the 2 nades, and then they were like, do you know what? Let's just add, instead of adding, little bit of sprinkles on top, let's just get, a truckload and just chuck it on, and let's just see, how much carnage we can create.
Difference a Gone 6 makes, right? But I mean, Thinker, just to detail them, you get a little bit... the annoying thing about Thinker is, she gives you all these buffs, but one of them is that you lose your recoil. Well, now, that's going away, and... that in some ways is a buff, right? Because most people, when they get that recoil sort of buff, it actually puts them off because they're used to dragging down. And now she actually provides all the benefits you'd want without that, and she can res herself, which I mean makes perfect sense, right? Dot can res herself. Makes perfect sense. But I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to play it because she's suddenly a lot more fun, a lot less annoying. But it will have a massive impact. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And, well, I mean, this is it. I'm just trying to think. Maybe take away the Gone 6 and she would still be popular. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. But I still think 3 pieces of destructive capabilities is just too much.
Well, we saw the lineup that the defenders were going with in that particular round. We saw Aces setting up with the Aruni and the Wamai, and we touched on the explosive capabilities that average players only are going to have to bring to make sure that they deal with that. Flores off the board, so there's no way of doing that. It's all about the frags, doing it the old-fashioned way, maybe the odd breaching round or Zofia lifeline, but they've fallen off in popularity lately. So getting rid of those magnets, getting rid of those Aruni gates is going to be important to deal with the shields and all that. Siege, this is how it works. But it's essentially all in aid of making sure that breach can get done, and then you can get a plant down, most likely in that sort of half wall inside of office. And I think that we're going to see a fair amount of that during this game because Master Bedroom, yeah, like I said, it's a very, very popular site.
Yep, and I mean this is it. We think about probably Jerry when it comes down to it. I think we saw two shields. I believe there was a frost and the smoke, both flashed at us when we were coming into this round. And I'm thinking in that top floor site, thinking the first shield automatically that's going to go on top of that piano. That's the standard way of doing things. But where do you put that second shield? Do you put it in towards the kind of, you know how there's sometimes you see teams kind of open up half the wall in towards Solarium?
Yeah.
Do you put the second shield in that little closet that faces in towards that wall?
Well, one of my favourite things to do with sort of spare shields, shall we say, is to make sure that you can move them around during the setup. Because sure, you want one in piano, that's pretty much a given. But you don't know for certain if attackers are going to be coming from the library side or from Solarium. And if they're coming from Solarium, then you really do need to adjust. And something like a shield looking towards the half wall from inside of Master Bedroom with a little rotation or a little sight line to deny that, and a really long range angle is great when you're faced with a sort of standard take. But you want to be able to rotate that out the way if we get a Solarium push, and maybe think about putting it maybe in Solarium, maybe inside a bathroom, or a little bit safer further back. Maybe you add some shield play into office itself, looking into Master. So that's, I think, the name of the game is adapting. But
yeah,
most of the time you can assume they're coming from the sort of trophy side of things.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
library side. Well, I say trophy. Trophy is on the next scenario. Well.
I mean, this is it. I mean, we all need to see, like, I mean, do you know what? Something we've not talked about? We've talked about every single site and how things are going to be set up.
Yep.
But do you know what we're not talking about? Kitchen.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about kitchen. Well, I mean, when kitchen comes, I think we'll have time to talk about it. But
yeah,
I have something even better, right?
Oh.
I mean, I see your kitchen suggestion, and I raise you the mascot fight that we did not do.
Oh yeah, we never done it.
We've got to do the mascot fight. Aces and average players only are represented by the following mascots. Aces have a man, just a guy, holding a kind of camera thing as we get our bands redone here. And average players only, they've got like a Reaper holding an ace of spades, and he's got a massive scythe. So I think that's a pretty foregone conclusion, right? Like, aces don't even have a weapon. It's just a guy holding his thumb up. Like, average players only have a scythe.
But what if the guy who does it's like he's got his thumb up, what if he's sarcastic and really the gun that he's got in his hand is like some sort of super weapon?
Oh, so that little kind of like camera thing he's holding.
Yeah, like he's really sarcastic. You ever played Borderlands?
I mean, we're looking at the picture here. You can see it at the top of your screen. It's very tiny. It looks kind of like a little like handheld camera thing. It looks actually a lot like Floris's glasses now that I notice. Only one is red and one is blue instead of both red. Either way, I don't think so. I think he's just a numpty. I think he's turned up.
Numpty.
I think he's just turned up and he's got this thing. And average players only, they've got this massive scythe, and it's about to cut the aces guy a new one.
Yep. Well, I'm going to say this, Jerry. What a great description that you've given us. Dumfries on a team represented by a mascot that you said looks like a numpty. I mean, there's nothing more for it. I think that's probably pretty spot on, considering they have the biggest numpty in the team.
After all,
in this league.
I can't join you in this hole that you've dug yourself.
I don't worry. I think I'm like one of the few casters that can like actively like, don't know, degrade. Was that what we'll go for? Degrade like this player because I'm good friends with him.
You should abuse that position, certainly.
Like, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, right now we're looking at a bar gaming defense. After all of that discussion, thinking it was Master Bedroom. We've actually got bar gaming in front of us. So, Frost 6 pick away to the Goyo to assist with that hold. Decent to hide the Goyo, to be honest, because he's most likely to be employed on this particular site of all of them, and it might have telegraphed it somewhat. So, APO, well, they're going to have to adjust maybe slightly to that, but they are attacking, and they are typically going to be bringing, most likely, the same 5 operators all the way through. Maybe they need to adjust to the style of play that Aces brings, but they want to check a load of those boxes. They want to make sure they have that soft destruction. They have the hard destruction. Right now, that's being brought by Kovac as a Hibana, and potentially Inoob with the with hard breach gadget in pocket. But let's look at the defense right now. What have we got? We've got bulletproof utility, plenty of it, and lots of protection for it. Pair of shields on Goyo, as well as the standard one from Spac as a smoke, and lots of magnets and irrigates and ADSs to boot.
Yep, without a doubt. I mean, it totally makes sense here when you think about it. I mean, if you're going to bring shields, you need to protect them, etc. We've got some good information and one BP or bulletproof camera being taken by Sondanos, which we saw placed in a very good position, just to maybe tell when nades are going to come in, when Burn's going to come in, or maybe even when a swing is going to come in. I quite like that bulletproof camera. Right now, Ace's setup looking pretty decent for me, and it looks as if they are going, APO that is, are actually going to go from Solarium's side, clear it out, take their time, and I mean, that's probably the best way to do it on this attack.
Failing an early death either side, we are going to see a utility throwing simulator right now because of all of the throwables. But there I have cursed it. The caster comes again. Zevon finding Orca, taking out the Yana. He is responded to with an immediate trade by Kovac, a 4 versus 4 now, and piano control established by the attackers at the cost of the Yana. A couple of throwables and that Gon 6, as well as the utility in terms of intel that she can provide. Orca not off to the best start after joining this team, but we'll see how the rest of the team can pick up the slack. They are presented with plenty of utility and throw in front of them, and now the throwing shall commence.
I think that's a pretty big pick, though. You think about it, that's 3 bits of destructive capability gone off the team. Now it's all up to the Thinker, and they need to make their utility count because, well, if they miss if they miss 2 of their nades, then one of those shields is guaranteed to stay up, basically. Because when you look at the rest of the players, I mean, it's only really the Thinker that can do the work, Jerry. So all in all, 7 might have just won the round here for Aces in that one pick.
Dumfries beneath, you can hear him setting off that C4. It doesn't quite connect, unfortunately, for him, but now he has plenty of time to rotate back to site. Olizen holding firm on these stairs, has the protection of these ADSs, still not burnt out just yet. There goes one of them. He's got a magnet above him as well, so these are decently placed to keep himself alive. He's expecting a push beneath as well, but that's not happening right this second. It does seem instead it is Weiwei who finds that frag, but Kovac is refragged by the server. There's 3 versus 3 now as he disconnects, unfortunately for him. Diffuser is being picked up with 30 seconds left. Cairo 3 versus 3, and not really enough utility cleared upstairs. They are readjusting themselves for a direct take.
Yeah, but it seems as if Inoob has decided to take the jog of life, and well, he probably will be DC'd very quickly, as well as 13 seconds remain. Spac pops up, dodging and weaving, stinging like a bee. But well, there's only one player left. It is Inoob, the man who's running on the spot. He's doing the running, man. That's all he was doing. Yeah. And well, there we go. Aces win round number 1 after 2 great frags by the server.
I didn't know that they installed a treadmill in Wine Cellar. That was an interesting end to the round, and a couple of issues, it seems, with the connection for a lot of people. So I think we're going to be pausing here and seeing what can be sorted out. I think a fair few ping issues. We'll see what's going on. Maybe we end up coming back to our faces for a little bit to see if this tech issue can be sorted out. But for the meantime, we'll look at this and we see Master Bedroom Office going to be the next site. What needs to happen here to change things for the attackers? Because all things considered, you know, even if we ignore the issues that they had during that round, it was a little slow, and there were some problems ridding the top floor of the utility that was making it so defensible for Aces.
I mean, I think the biggest problem there, right, is what we were talking about. Like, that pick from 7, being able to just swing, get the Ayana, there we go. 2 nades and a Gon 6 gone, right? Then on top of that, we went to kind of the Burns section of the round where we're expecting just a load of throwables to get flung down the corridor, them all to be burned out, and then the nades to come, right? That didn't happen, Jerry. You watched that, it was the 2 nades to burn the ADSs. that's it. That's the round lost.
Yeah.
If this was a normal pro league round, that round would be lost because therefore you're guaranteed to at least have one more shield alive until the end of the round because there's not enough capability in terms of destruction. It would have to go towards a gone six, and well, then it would have to go towards fragging, which, well, as we already saw, aces were more than capable.
The most difficult part about that, watching it as well, was seeing that it was a really easy job potentially for the attackers. They had so many throwables in pocket, but they sent out the frags before the stuns and they didn't
Yeah.
burn it. So about 9 stuns on side of the attackers. Of course, the Hibana left earlier, but it's still not the best utilization of that utility. They have another chance though, and plenty of other chances, but for the time being, we're going to throw to a very short break just to make sure that we can get everything up and running properly for the rest of the game to run as smoothly as possible. So don't go far. We'll be back soon.
Someday we will look back, and our hearts will be whole again. I want to remember all that happened to us. 'Cause I wanna drive through the summer night, and when we are old and gray, we'll look back at this summer night, this summer night, this summer night. Oh yeah, this summer night, this summer night, oh this summer night.
I'm buzzing, let's drink up. Your death look like big fun. Come on, let's get it on. Like that Marvin Gaye song. I'm stunning, you love it.
Okay, thank you very much for waiting, everybody. We are back with round 2 of Aces versus Average Players Only. We've just seen Aces take a round here off the attackers with a nice bar gaming defense, stalling out enough time on the top floor to claim that one for themselves. We're going now to the master bedroom and office as we see once again a fair amount of utility soak being brought, but certainly nowhere near as much. The Jaeger really being the only one there, as we're seeing a mute being brought and a Thunderbird, so potentially the option to be a little bit more aggressive even on this defense, something that we didn't really see from Aces. They were very reserved.
Yes, they were very reserved, but the thing is, though, Jerry, it worked in their favour as they were able to win it out, even though, well, I mean, Rainbow Six Servers helped it out, but we'll not talk about that. All in all, apart from the fact that, well, we did lose the Hibana and the Buck at the end, they were there for the key moments, and the key moments weren't executed right, and that's what led to, well, things going all wrong. But at the end of the day, that's it. We don't need to worry about that anymore as well. we are now on towards a new round. We are towards this master round, and interestingly enough, it seems as if there must be some sort of extension, some sort of roam downstairs and towards the basement. Downstairs, we don't usually see this as often. Don't get me wrong, it can be used fairly effectively. For instance, that Yeager getting an angle on towards the main breach that goes into Master. But I'm questioning it because the site could be left a little weak here.
Well, if you're going to send anyone down to do it, it makes sense to send the sub, and Zevon managed to get the opening kill at the very start of the last round. That disconnect, we will see what happens there, but for the time being, let's just plow on. Orca is moving his way through the basement and will be coming up these main stairs. Spots a... Is that a camera there? Of course, that was the default camera. Just taking that out, moving through now, and he's got Jaff in tow as well to protect his rear. So, looks like they want to be taking advantage of maybe this little gift they've been given at the very start of the round and just gain as much map control as possible. The diffuser has been left outside for the time being, but this sweep in from beneath is a very odd approach for a master take. They may well catch Zevon though here. He's lurking round that kitchen hallway. Looks like they have a read on him as the yellow pings are coming through, but Jav doesn't capitalize. Orca goes down as well. Dumfries claiming him, and now it's all falling to pieces. Aces are looking to claim that advantage and extend it after that DC. Soundownos does fall, but 4 versus 2 now. With half the round remaining, a lot of work for Ainub and Weiwei to try and pull this one back.
Oh, it's just so unfortunate just to see... Oh, well, maybe things actually doing... Not too bad here. Ainub does manage to make it 3-2. Kind of starting to claw it back a little bit. We'll need to see how things go, but great loss there and those two big players. But Dumfries is looking towards the hatch, looking through kitchen, trying to see if he can maybe pick up a freebie as the Buck is trying to do work here. And as he sees an arm, Dumfries just unfortunately missing out there. Bullets are returned, but nothing gained all in all. Looks as if it is going to be up towards Solarium. But, well, sometimes when you open up angles, they can be two-way, and, well, that is being used against them right there. Ainub is able to get picked up, but the smoke is able to do work and just denying this section of the map. Maybe, potentially, we'll need to see if they will decide to go elsewhere. But, well, no, Ainub's internet is just going to stop that happening. It looks as if there has been a drop. Weiwei left all by on his lonesome. He is maybe trying to do work towards this Frost. Doesn't pick up, but finally Dumfries shuts him down through there. Well, through their own angles. So, just like that, Jerry flipped all on the head. And, well, it seems as if the servers are really punishing APO here.
Yeah, you do hate to see it, but I mean, at least Aces are making sure that they take advantage because it's, well, not their fault really. 2-0 makes perfect sense. 2 defenses on their side. So Kitchen Dining now, their tertiary site coming through. Now we've got ourselves a 5 versus 4 potentially while these players try and get back in. Some issues with potential rehost. Did actually have the opportunity to call it, but they didn't use it. It was before the 32nd place moment, or 32nd mark, excuse me, in the action phase. So anyway, we'll let that resolve itself, and 5 versus 4 for this round is definitely not what you want to be going into here, especially given the 2-man deficit.
No, certainly not. And, well, things... Oh, it seems there might be a bit of sportsmanship happening here.
I'm not quite sure what's going on. I think we're probably just going to cut to back to our cameras while they sort things out in lobby, because I think this is essentially a message to say we want to try and restart the round or do something. Yeah. We'll see what happens, but for the time being, we're going to come back to ourselves and try and dissect what was going on there. Master bedroom take was an odd one, shall we say. Going in beneath, I mean, regardless of the circumstances, you're not setting yourself up for a very good round if you do that. Yeah, this is completely true. Just everything's just going wrong here for APO though, Jerry. Yeah. It just doesn't seem as if things can get started. I mean, it's just so unfortunate in that case. Yeah. I think we're going to cut to a fairly short break yet again. I do apologise for people watching at home, but we do need to make sure that everything is sorted out. In the meantime, you get to watch our lovely break screen, and also there's some nice merch that you'll see during that time. Make sure you're getting some Bull merch because it's some really, really nice stuff. I'm definitely going to make sure I get some really, really swish. But yeah, we'll be back very shortly.
like a light, lighting up in the dark. You make it right, I forgot how to act, it's so classic. Every time you make me nervous and I lose my words. It's been a while since I forgot the most simple words. I feel calm when you're around, like nothing can break me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, two peas in a pod. That we are two peas in a pod. Now I know why it never worked out before. High low, it would always turn out bad, so bad. But every time we start a fight, we always stop in time. We both know how to be gentle, never cross the line. I feel calm when you're around, like nothing can break me. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, but I know we're safe. Two peas in a pod, a roller coaster to walk out the door. We could be in control, but we just keep on putting on a show. And baby, I don't mind it. Let them talk, they don't get it. That we are two peas in a pod. Strangers again. When you stepped into my life, such a magic feeling. When you tore down my walls, I wish I could go back to right before you told me I'd try to change it all. But look at us now, could have gone so far. It hurts to realize we're parted. Yeah, look at us now, this is who we are. And I just know things will never be the same. We're like strangers again, again, again. Strangers again, again, again. We're like strangers again, again, again. I just know things will never be the same. We're like strangers again. tried much harder, all we have are scars. You said we'd get so high, higher up than heaven. You said we'd reach the stars. But look at us now, could have gone so far. It hurts to realize we're parted. Yeah, look at us now, this is who we are. And I just know things will never be the same. We're like strangers again, again, again. Strangers again, again, again. We're like strangers again, again, again. I just know things will never be the same. We're like strangers again. Strangers again. Strangers again. Now that we parted, I better get started. It's time to get my head up again. You said that you had to. I'll try to forget you. Just didn't think we'd end up this way, like strangers again. Strangers again. Like strangers again. Oh, I know things will never be the same. Like strangers again. Like strangers again. Like strangers again.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you.
Hello and welcome back. Thank you very much for being so patient at home. We have round 3 and hopefully all of the remaining rounds. Take 3 of Aces versus APO and you may notice a little gap on your screen. Well, unfortunately, I have to tell you, APO will be continuing this game at a 4 versus 5, a one-man disadvantage because they can't sort out managing to get Kovac back in and no way of getting a sub in for the remaining game. So this is going to be a little lopsided and I expect, well, we all expect probably Aces to run home with this, but let's hope that they at the very least put on a decent show for us.
Well, that's all we're hoping for here, Jerry. We're just hoping to just get through, go through the rounds, and well, that's it. Just get it done quickly.
I want to see a bit of
possible.
fun, you know, have a bit of fun with it, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else
Oh,
is there
sure.
to do? What else is there to do? You know, just enjoy the game.
Just enjoy the ride. It's not about the destination.
Sometimes
how
it's the
long-
journey. Yeah.
Sometimes it's the journey.
Flawless round, says our wonderful R6 analyst, which is 90% of the time amazing. I absolutely love R6 analysts, but sometimes it just comes up with little tidbits like that that make you laugh. But it wasn't a flawless round that we just saw from Aces, but they have been performing pretty well so far. Even with the problematic disconnects that we've seen sort of hinder APO, Aces have been somewhat on top, and that's understandable. given the situation, but yeah, they're definitely playing well, and props to them, to be fair. So, going into this round, they've completed a bar defense and Master Gaming defense, so we're going to see Master Gaming, that's not a play, Master and Office defense. So we're going to see a kitchen site defense. No, sorry, it's a wine cellar defense now, as Aces want to sort of, you know, explore a little bit. Why not take the opportunity to branch out a bit and go to a site that maybe you're less than likely to play usually?
Yep, without doubt. I mean, well, right now we're just going to see how things are going to go, and well, already we're getting the main breach open, because why should you waste any sort of time? Are going to vacate that straight away, and what it seems if a C4 has been wasted already, Jerry. So right now, things are looking pretty decent. They managed to burn one C4, and oh, they're managing to actually equal out the man count. Inoob in and out, and there we go, equal man count.
Arctic Sanders just told us that Inoob planted the diffuser. He certainly didn't. Jaff has a diffuser in hand, but Inoob has only a couple of pieces of health in hand. I mean, well, I don't think you keep your health in your hand. It's probably, I don't know, the quantity of blood in your system. I don't know what the number really represents, to be honest. One more bullet, though, and he's dead. That's the main thing. No more withstand for Zofia. That is long gone. So, 4 versus 4 here. And the Selma charges now opening up a bit more of a walkable hole, shall we say. But Dumfries is going to be the first person to try and resist any push from APO. Sitting right here at the bottom of the main stairs with a Goyo shield to protect him, one of his own. Flashes, and now frag grenades sail in to displace him momentarily, but he senses the presence of someone by that fireplace main door. Also has Soundanos in tow to help him out, and he is the one that will claim that kill from Bar itself. Now 3 versus 4, and Weiwei, he's staring down a couple of players, including the shield, but Soundanos will be felled. That refrag somewhat delayed onto the bandit, but 3 versus 3 now for APO.
Yep, certainly, and look at this, the Goyo just sprinting up the stairs to take that gunfight after breaking the floor. Inoob taken off guard, but it's Dumfries to be taken off guard. In return, he gets taken out by Orca. She enters in through blue and takes out the clash as well. It's all up to Spack, the MVP, you could say, and we're down to a 1 versus 1. Orca versus Spack with 55 seconds remaining, all the time in the world with the diffuser outside. Orca does decide to actually go for the frag, and well, is on the hunt, trying to find her prey, trying to find exactly where this player could be. Oh no, don't peek with the thought you were going to peek with the smoke. He does, and somehow manages to get away with it. Choke it out, Orca. Well, she decides to rotate away, but Spack already rotated in anticipation, brings out the SMG-11 and manages to take out Orca in a very clutch scenario, Jerry. Well played from him and well played from Aces all in all to keep, well, trading it all the way out to the end. And well, 3-0 for them.
A questionable final duel there, but well taken by Spack in the 1 versus 2. And that was a situation that Aces, well, they probably shouldn't have found themselves in considering the situation, but they still managed to claim the round for themselves, and they get that wine cellar defense under their belt. So a 3-0, a perfect rotation, somewhat, you know, staggered, shall we say, but they come to their primary site once again now, back up to Bar Gaming, and they're feeling a little bit frisky. Decide to bring the dock this time round and flexing onto the Legion. So it's slightly different look for this defense. They don't necessarily need to stack all of that bulletproof utility you saw the first time round. Instead, they want some of these fragging ops, and who can blame them? They're going to enable a bit of that with the Echo Drone as well. You can expect to see the first or maybe even 2 of those sent out to aid the roaming players on the defense. And you've got a lot of candidates there for that role, but expect to see Zevon doing plenty of it. The sub for today, and he's proven pretty substantial in his contribution so far when it comes to opening frags. So we'll see how he performs continuing forward.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, EPO put up a very good fight. They were almost, what, like 1 frag away from winning out that round. And on top of that, Jerry, you look at this, maybe they're not actually out the game, is what we thought, even though they do have that man disadvantage. Maybe we could see them come back into this game. And, I mean, crazier things have happened, question mark? I mean, I guess if Fnatic can win with a coach, APO can win with a man down.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, we even saw Gig on stream earlier with Invictus doing pretty nicely for them. I can't recall whether they won or not. I was flicking between so many streams. And do you remember if they won or not? Either way, he was putting in a good shift at the very start of their first game. So it's good to see the coaches always continue to make an impact. Still 4 versus 5 here as we're about 30 seconds into the action phase. And Ainu is going to go through the lengthy animation to reload that LMG after putting a lot of bullets downrange into this library side of things, but Zevon is not budging. He's still inside here, doesn't get flashed at all, gets a little bit of ringing in his ears, but it's actually Dumfries to pick up the first frag onto Orca, who's being felled on the other side of the map. And meanwhile, Ainu does win that duel against the Jaeger, but they're maybe not expecting the prone player inside a box, and instead they're going to rotate around. They've actually given up on this push, it seems. No, okay, they're they're playing with my mind, and they're playing with themselves here, deciding whether they want to hop in or not, and Ainu eventually makes that decision and gets on in. No more resistance inside the box, plenty of barbed wire and shields, but that's of no use when the defenders have completely fled, and instead they go for this full rotation, looking to retake from the top side, from that north side, flanking through Piano.
Yep. Oh, well, I was about to make a comment there, but it's totally been shut down as way from below on the flank watch. That's a really nice position there. Been able to read the rotate coming through, but no, Sundanos has actually managed to escape the bullets that were waiting for his head. He creeps along, and while trying to upset exactly everything has kind of been going right for these attackers, and finally does so, drops the diffuser after Dumfries with a key frag earlier. Now it's all up to Weiwei, all the way down into the corridor, and Will gives away his position as Dumfries swings, so does Spack, and well, as they work in unison, they are able to pick up the last remaining players. Well done to Aces, unlucky for APO.
Yeah, it's exactly what we expect, but it's good to see APO putting up a decent fight along the way, and yeah, we're going now to Master Bedroom Office. Often the primary site for a lot of teams is going to be an interesting one without the Waldenal that Kaid can bring along to the table, and you're going to see the mute on your screen for exactly that reason. But he's not entirely perfect at denying those walls, especially since the recent nerf. So you've got, for instance, Hibana on the attacker lineup who can fire those pellets at the very top of the reinforcement and just create a little gap for the nades to sail on in and remove those jammers, and then she can complete the rest of the job.
Yep, certainly. I mean, I think this is probably where APO are going to be most likely to actually pick up some rounds, Jerry, because I think once they start to move on to the defense, that man disadvantage will really start to come into play. To be honest, and that's where we start to get worried. But at the end of the day, right now, nothing to be worried about just yet. The performances have been good, even though Aces are 4-0 up. All in all, as well, Jerry's. What are they doing? Are they just like damaging themselves?
I'm not quite sure. I think maybe Sandanos is like fine to do what he wants and open as many walls as possible. Maybe they just want to soak up all of the Kona stations or something. Are they strange?
Yeah, I was about to say, are they like cycling Kona stations right now?
They're just making sure that Zevon gets like the highest score at the end of the day, right? He wants those tasty Kona station points. So a little bit of team damage is the way that you can accomplish that. That's my analysis.
Right, well, with that being the case, we are seeing, oh no, Seven's able to pick up Orca as we do see the big window from Ainub trying to pick up players in the swing from Ollie. He's able to pick up Ainub, and just like that, Jerry, is 5 versus 2.
Perfectly timed swing as well, hearing the reload and going for the peak. And, well, yeah, 5 versus 2, you said it, Cairo. 2 minutes 17 left on the clock, and, well, Jaff and Weiwei can do their very best, but it's going to take a lot here to turn this around. Weiwei already in a decent position. If we were looking at a full roster here, we'd be saying that APO have made good progress, having full control of Fireplace and Library Hallway, but there's only 2 of them. So what can they make happen? They do have an... Is that an open breach? No, it's not. It's just been softened up. So they do still need to try and breach into the office itself. Dumfries very close on this double doorway. He's pushed out of Piano. He's directly contesting Weiwei on the other side of it. Sending out a smoke canister as well is Spack. And Orca's a little bored in chat, just waiting for this to end. But Jaff is going to catch a whiff of a rover. Weiwei takes out Dumfries. He's finally peeking onto that aggressive mute. And a 4 versus 2 is certainly winnable. Weiwei takes it down to 3 versus 2 as well. And suddenly there is hope for APO to snatch around from the jaws of pretty much inevitable defeat here. Holding the flank here, Jaff just expecting a little more aggression from Aces, and I mean, they certainly have the free agency to do exactly that. Hot Olizen has his own Kona station down here in the bar, of all places. He's getting healed up, and meanwhile, Jaff is picking apart the anchors. Soundownos is dead, and now it's only really Spack on site. They have a breach. They can start to go for a plant here, Cairo.
They could easily go for a plant, and well, those flashes are placed to perfection. Just being able to, well, deny Flash any sorts of line of sight, and look at this. Jaff is maybe looking to sprint in, does so, and gets sprayed down. A double coming out from Spat, just like that. And I believe there is going to be an admin rehost called. Coming back to us, you get to see our beautiful faces once again. But Jerry, at least this time, we have had plenty to kind of break down right now and what's been happening, even though there is that man disadvantage.
Yeah, it's a foregone conclusion in some ways, but it's good to see the amount of effort that's being put into trying to clutch these rounds. That was essentially a 2 versus 1 on site. It's this team that starts off at a 4v5 disadvantage and then find themselves in a 2 versus 5. So a very, very nice attempt there. By average players only. I'm a little bit saddened though, because that last moment you could see, I miscalled it. I said that they had a breach. They didn't. They didn't have the breach. They were forced to funnel into that Piano doorway, and Spack just gobbled them up. If there was a better attempt at the refrag there, then you've got a 1 versus 1 on your hands with time to plant. So unfortunate for average players, but they need to be a little bit more than average in that situation to overcome Spack, who, as you mentioned, is putting himself in a strong contender for sort of MVP for Aces so far this season. He's been a fantastic smoke player for them at the moment.
Yeah, certainly has, and I mean, he's doing a great job here. Unfortunately, we don't have all the stats due to the amount of, unfortunate problems that we had just so far. But I mean, I'd imagine he probably would be far into double figures right now, Jerry, with the how he's been clutching up. He's been most of the kind of end round kill cams, not him being them, just him getting them. So that kind of leads to me probably the MVP for this. But I mean, I think it's just hard to break down like the strategy, etc., that's going on when you are seeing things like this happen when you do have that disadvantage. Yeah,
it's a bit of a shame, but you've got to give credit to Aces, because I think apart from that round, no, in fact, let me take that point back. They've had an interesting turn since the 4 versus 5 has come up, because they seem to be a lot more fast and loose. They're fine with just sort of playing around with it, and it's almost come at the cost of a couple of rounds. Like, surely they want this over and done with. Yeah. And the past 2 defenses have come a lot closer than they really should have for races. Now, we're getting a bit of news from our team backstage that the match will be starting again at 4-0. So that last round that we just saw, the Master Defense, is going to be wiped from the slate, supposedly. And we'll be getting a rehost at 4-0, meaning that it's an opportunity as well to let TK join back in for average players only. So we are going to get a full 5 versus 5, which is good to see, because at least you get a fair fight.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, with that being the case, I mean, well, that's us. We at least can now start to kind of stop disregarding the fact that there is a player gone. There's no longer that excuse for APO, and now we need to see them get at least 2 rounds on the half, Jerry. And if they do that, then things look that little bit sweeter moving on to their defensive half.
Yeah, certainly so. So they have that opportunity to maybe claim it. You know, you could be looking potentially here at a 4-2 split on your attack on Chalet, which, I mean, Chalet sort of fairly even-sided in terms of things. If anything, leaning slightly more on the attacker favouredness, but depends where you are, depends what level you're at. And We've seen some really good chalets in our time at Bull, but they have tended towards that attacker side in this kind of environment. So to see Aces already pick up 4 defenses round, that's a boon regardless. And even if they lose these remaining 2 defenses, then they'll still have a decent shout moving forward to pick up all 3 points here.
Yep, without a doubt. I mean, this is the thing. We could even make it all the way to overtime, depending on how things go. I mean, if we go towards this, it's crazy to think we haven't even seen the second half yet. But I mean, if we do move across that second half and we do see a 4-2 split, then I mean, hey, who knows?
Yeah. I think we'll probably be throwing to a fairly short break in a moment, just because we do need to make sure that. Actually, we're just waiting for a fifth player, so it won't be too long before we go back into the game. What do you want to see out of this game, Nekahira? Do you want to see like Spag, who so far has been excellent on the defense? Do you want to see him break? I mean, we haven't been keeping track of the kills or anything, but I want to see him break some personal records at the very least, because I do like seeing a little bit of spotlight shone on someone every now and then. And Spag, so far, he's had the spotlight on him. Yeah,
certainly. I would like to see Dumfries die a lot more in the server. I would just in general. I mean, I've got to add it in somewhere. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll need to see exactly what's going to happen. I'm just thinking what else I'd like to see. I'd like to see, do you know what I'd like? See if we went back to bar gaming, if it was potentially possible. I don't think it is. But if we went back to bar gaming, if we saw like a rush come up through the basement, maybe we could see a West Main rush on kitchen. Maybe that's possible.
Maybe. West Main rush on kitchen is somewhat viable. You have to push your way through that kitchen hallway, though, right? It's a really horrible sort of prospect. I'm more interested in seeing a kitchen defense in general, right? Because we haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So just seeing how Aces would defend that. It seems as though they went to Wine for that first round that was a 4 versus 5. Maybe that was just an effort to hide their proper tertiary site, and they'll see fit to bring it out if they potentially win this replay of the master bedroom that we're likely to see in a minute.
Ooh, sorry. I was just going to ask you. I was going to ask a question that not many people ask, right? So after the PGL major, a lot of people were talking about how fast-paced CS:GO is, how exciting it can be. So I'm going to ask you. There was a few improvements suggested on Twitter, as I mean every single Siege or person who's even remotely connected to Siege does.
We're all experts,
exactly.
We all want to put
how in your opinion, how do we make the game faster? How do we make the game a little bit more viewer friendly?
It's an interesting one. I'm going to sidestep my personal opinion, which is that the game doesn't need to be made a ton faster.
Yes.
But if you are looking to do it, it's got to be in the sort of menu screens, essentially the pick phase, the reveal phase, all of this stuff at the very start of each and every single round, because, you want to be watching the gameplay. There's some methods of speeding up prep phase, for instance, maybe just much faster gadget deployment. But that has its issues. I mean, at one point they sped up the reinforcement deployment time by a few seconds. It was, and obviously that was across the board. So what that ended up doing was buffing things like the hold on Oregon, where you fall back through elbow and reinforce that wall. Suddenly you've got an extra second to work with, and pocket reinforcements actually became much more of a thing. There are multiple instances of that happening in Oregon especially. You think about Dorm's defense, where that's possible on the top floor. But if there was some way of speeding up only in the prep phase, that'd be quite a cool way of doing it, I think. Other sort of gadget deployments in this prep phase being sped up for the defense, and then, attackers, most of the time, you don't really want to be sending your drones in, because you want to be keeping them for the actual round. So that would encourage better drone play, if anything. You see, I have a friend, right, who plays Siege with me, and we've been playing since release. I swear to God, he always loses his prep drone. The number of times I've told him, dude, just save your prep drone, right? Mike, if you're out there, this is another PSA. This time I'm talking about it publicly. Save your prep drone. Don't just send it into sight. Do not drive to the top floor of cafe. For God's sakes, it's a suicide mission.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I had an opinion, right? I don't know if you've known, but I've been doing a little bit of playing other games and kind of just what like I like to get an understanding for esports so I can get the appreciation for the casting
Yeah.
and kind of do like what do you call that where you go and study other works to improve yourself? There's like a word for it.
Research? Oh, I...
I don't know, like you get what I mean. So like
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of League recently because Worlds was on, and
Yeah.
they do a thing at the very start of the game where they speed up everything, but when you're back in the like when it goes to the normal kind of like the actual gameplay, everything becomes slower again. So I think personally in the prep phase, what they should do is not make every person faster, but make everything else faster, like deployments of gadgets, reinforcements of walls, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. And then once that's done, once the prep phase is done, it all goes back to the normal setting.
Yeah, it's certainly a way of doing it. Like I mentioned, I don't necessarily feel like it's entirely necessary to bring
Yeah.
this slow burner of a game, very sort of strategical one, very complex one, to the pace of CSGO. They're two different products, they're two different games. They are going to naturally play differently. And if you want some fast-paced action, sure, go watch CSGO. But if you want some really fast-paced action in Rainbow Six Siege, then, just turn on both the Rainbow Six and Rainbow Six Bravo streams and watch them both simultaneously. It's a great way of doing it. Dez had a fantastic cast, community cast during the Mexico major, where he had both games on and like 50 different people joined him in a voice call, and it was actually genuinely entertaining. So yeah, maybe that's the way forward. Just do it kind of like Jeff Stelling's Soccer Saturday style.
Oh, see, did we not come up with the idea of like doing an esports version of that?
Ever since I've mentioned this about a month ago, it's happened like a lot of times in different places. All of a sudden, it happened during like CL polls and stuff.
Yeah, like I think that'd be a great idea, but like even at that, like doing like I think if it was like a skit and you did like an esports version of that, I think that would be funny.
There was a UKIN promo video a few seasons back where Demo did like a transfers video, and that was one of my favorite content pieces of all time. It was great because one of my favorite bits was Demo in the studio throwing to Demo on the pitch. He literally introduced himself.
That's genius. And what's not Jesus is AC Kovac has disconnected once again. So like
Give up.
all good.
Just give up.
I was just about to say like
It's
like
been an
everything
hour.
else. Has it been an hour?
It's been an hour since the start of the game. We are 4-0
An hour?
down. We are 4-0 in.
Have you seen that video? The Scottish video?
What, of someone shouting an hour? No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. No. It's basically they say how much did that fresh Rolex set you back? And the girl replies an hour. And then the boy, to which the boy goes an hour? Like people are that really surprised. Yeah.
That's great.
So,
I love that. My favourite Scottish person on the internet is the Disgusting Woman. Absolutely timeless.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Anyway, what is more disgusting is the fact that Kovac has dropped out of this game now 3 times, and APO are having to suffer for it. Unfortunate for him, unfortunate for them as well. Hot Olizon, though, is the first to be unfortunately felled, and in fact Zevon is the first to be downed and outed for good, as looks like the Warden is in a position to be rezzed. So Zevon, the first death, that's new. He's been opening kill, or dealing it at least, for the past few rounds, and for the first time now he's on the receiving end. 4 versus 4, and APO do have a route back into this game. Jaff taking a bit of flack from that balcony as he's aware of the potential roam. This is something that Ace were bringing in the last master bedroom defense that we saw before the replay. And now, looks like Ainoob and Co are fully set up to catch out Olizon, and all of these rotates that Aces are maybe making a little bit overzealously.
Yep, certainly it seems to be the case, and I've picked up some key frags as there goes Dumfries. And well, finally, Sondanos tries to make it that little bit easier, but no, is down to the clutch factor, the clutch minister, whatever you want to call him. He's certainly putting up an effort just now after picking up one more frag. He tries to make his way towards this master door, the smoke coming through, but no, Jaff reacts, and picks up Spack, and there we go. Finally, we see one round going in favour of APO.
Yeah, and it's all they needed one at that. They wanted to make sure that they had a say in this game, and Lord knows it's going to be tough now with 4 versus 5. Surely basically continuation now. Like this is not going to change. I imagine we just play to the end, as none of these players will want to go into a restart one more time. So Master Bedroom Office is going to be reattempted here by Aces, and why not? It's a strong site. Your only other option would be to head down to, well, what many consider a tertiary in Kitchen, or the quaternary, I believe is the word I'm looking for, in Wine Cellar itself, which was a very close one when we saw Aces try and bring that out against a 4 versus 5 APO squad earlier.
Yep, well, Jerry, but we are heading back towards the top floor site. What actually went wrong for Aces?
I mean, part of it was over-peaking. I think overconfidence. It's difficult to pinpoint exactly when it fell apart for them, but certainly the early rotates, the unnecessary movement. There was one moment where Jeff had an angle just from the balcony into Master Bedroom, and he caught someone napping, like a freebie. Absolutely no attempt to fight back, and that was when it spilt over into the realms of losing control for Aces. They had a handle on things, and I think they're just getting a little bit sloppy. Maybe, you know, it's a bit of a drawn-out evening. They're just thinking, well, we can do what we want, and really, they're in a position where they can shut this out quite quickly if they want to. 4 versus 5 in every round, that should spell success for pretty much every defense you go on, and Soundownos is finally having none of it, taking out Orca early on.
Yeah, certainly another entry frag there for the side of the Aces. Einub does get Dumfries in return. And, well, I mean, there's more destruction off the board. We'll need to see exactly how the round continues. But right now, they're in a very good position. And Einub is in a very good position and taking on towards the rappel and just holding this line of sight that's all the way through and towards the closet area. Right now, APO looking not too bad. Sven is all the way in. Oh, sorry, I said Sven. It's not Sven, it's Seven. He's down in towards that basement room once again. And Einub just trying to open up angles and try and kind of pull apart what is on the side of Aces, but no one is actually giving anything away.
I might just annoy you by anagrammizing. Wow, that's not a word. Anagrammizing is probably also not a word, but at least it makes more sense. Zeven's name. Every time I see him. So Sven, as you called him, is holding this angle. I'm not even sure they know about him. He gets a freebie onto Jaff. And look at this. Vens takes out 2. And now what more can Nevs do? He has Einub in front of him. Can get the, well, glorified ace, shall we say, for this game, if he so pleases. With Einub just downstairs. He knows that Evans is coming down. And he will take out Nevs on the way down that stairs. 1 versus 3 now. Got a couple of grenades in hand, but no access to any drones besides those that have been preset. Orca and Weiwei may be feeding some interesting information about flanks. Maybe they know that Hot Olison is lurking down here somewhere. Einub's movement certainly seems to suggest so, but he doesn't know exactly where he is. Hot Olison now peeking and maybe sensing that Einub gets a bit of a read. The drones come through the yellow pings on your screen. You can see that this Malusi's number is surely up soon, but manages to slip away not quickly enough as Einub sweeps that up. But with 45 seconds left and still a 1 versus 2 on site to have to deal with Cairo, it's still a very tricky situation for Einub.
It is, but he is going to pick up the diffuser, so he has that kind of, that little card in his pocket, that little ace up his sleeve. You could maybe say, don't do it. I've seen a glitch where the smoke gets stuck on the shield and then it takes away the shield. But nope, that isn't to happen. We're going to pop the smoke and there we go, more time delayed. 20 seconds remaining. It looks as if Einub is scrambling to make an entryway in towards West Main and well up towards Trophy and in through Solarium grenades to come out. But does he realise there's only 10 seconds left? Time is so low. He decided to push up Malusi devices to slow him down and cameras to give away his position. Decides to run into bathroom. There we go. Time is up. And well, just like that, Jerry, another round and towards the Aces side. 5-1 in their favour. And well,
you can't blame Orca for snoozing in chat there. It was unfortunate to see Einub be put in this situation. 1 versus 4. So promising early on with a couple of kills and then just kind of made a misplay essentially. Bit of poor movement. Expecting to have enough time to get up through Solarium and maybe go undetected. But the Banshee and the default camera reading into that easily. Just ended up having to pre-fire every corner, and of course Aces aren't going to get that one slip so easily. So, 5-1 the score now, and APO, well, they know that they want to have a little bit of fun with that. fun with it. Thankfully, Kovac has made it back into the lobby. He's switching around off the Cav onto the Pulse. I mean, he's playing with us now. He's constantly switch picking onto the Rook is where he ends up. Bit of a operator roulette, shall we say, from him.
Yeah, a little bit operator roulette. But finally, we move on through, and we'll need to see exactly the defensive half works. I mean, the fact that we've got AC Kovac, I mean, maybe things might be a little bit better. Maybe we'll see a better half from APO, but right now, Aces, the fact that they're 5-1 up, Jerry, all they need to do is win 2 tertiary sites, and well, that's them.
Yeah, it's not too difficult, really, for Aces to sweep this one home, considering how attacker-favoured Shally tends to be. And, of course, they've been dealt a fair advantage on their defensive half. We can't possibly overlook that, but we do expect them to take this home. If anything, it's just going to be a mental grind here for APO. Like, they've been really under the cosh with the situation they've been dealt, and if they can pull this one back, then it shows mental fortitude to a level I haven't seen before in the uni scene. It will be quite some comeback.
Yeah, it certainly would. I mean, this is it. It's certainly, I mean, Sundanos, though, nearly giving away a couple of freebies there. Well,
Wow.
finally does. I know with the jump up. There we go.
Well, he's continuing his form. Had a decent end to that last round with a clutch attempt that did go a little bit south, but this early run out has claimed a kill for himself, and Yana taken off the board. He knows that a couple of bodies are outside this trophy window, swinging it to his heart's delight as he's clearly just flowing with confidence here. And this Thunderbird with a spear in hand is a weapon that you want in your hands when you're feeling that way. So Orca coming into support, and they are keen on protecting this downstairs area. Direct trade comes out between the Mute and the Buck of Dumfries and Weiwei. Some interesting utility loss, but really that is an overall loss for the attackers. Now they're losing a fair amount of their vertical presence potential from beneath, and when their execute is basically pushing from beneath, then that is a massive part of it, as Zevon will go down as well. Orca adding some kills to her name. 2 versus 4, Cairo. This is looking like a bit of a foregone conclusion.
Yep, it certainly is. There's only 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining and Diffuser down on the ground. But finally, we see the Roman of Orca be picked up. 2 versus 3, a little bit easier. Clawed back a little. But Jerry, still so much to do. 1 minute 10, 20 left, and it looks as if the focus is maybe put towards Solarium side as a pixel angle is created, but you see Kovac with a long angle into kitchen corridor will deny anybody who decides to actually go for this fireplace movement. Doesn't seem to be the case as well. All eyes have been put towards Solarium that we were talking about earlier. Spack, the clutch master, and Hot Olizin, the Ash entry. 0-2 for Hot Olizin, but can he maybe make it 1 this round? He's trying to pre-fire his way through, but finally Ainoob gets picked up from Spack. A lovely nade up. But here we go, they're going to start to drone out, take their time, slow it down as well. One will be playing that Overwatch position, and here comes the smoke to do some damage. Not picked up anybody. Finally, Spack has slowed it down. 35 seconds remain, Jerry. 2 versus 2. Can these 2 players clutch it up? Well, it certainly looks likely.
Well, the teamwork is working for them right now, and it's making the dream work. 2 versus 1 from a 2v4. Kovac left scrambling back to sight as he comes through Piano, just peeking everywhere, but there's no intel. You can see everyone on his team just watching him as Diffuser is now being set down. Olizin with enough cover. Kovac decides to go wide round Bathroom, but gives his position away as a Diffuser is planted, and Aces look to have gotten away with this one. Kovac decides to peek the doorway, can't quite find the head, expecting a swing, but Spack is now being very reserved here behind this bed. Sends out a couple of impacts, but neither will connect, and Hot Olizin will arise from behind that bomb chassis. Fantastic play from the 2 of them. A 2 versus 4 for Aces at that point in the mid-round, and they turn it round to a victory.
It was certainly do, and finally they move on towards match point, Jerry. Finally, we look as if, well, potentially we could be finally closing out this match, and well, it seems as if Wine Cellar and Snowmobile may be where our final showdown takes place. I don't know how on earth Aces were able to actually claw that back, but well, finally they were able to do so. Well, we're now moving on to match point. Castle flashed and they move on towards the Jaeger. I don't know what the Castle gives away or hints towards their opponents, but a Jaeger a much better operator and all in all, Jerry. So we'll need to see how Aces actually decide to actually interact with this defense, what side they decide to go for, whether it will be that kind of wine cellar attack or whether it will be the main breach.
Yeah, the snowmobile is certainly something you want to breach regardless of the strategy, I always find, just to make sure that no one can really anchor properly inside of the snowmobile itself. But once you've done that, then you've got the job of rotating potentially and doing a more wine-centric push. Weiwei, though, is opening up some holes in this wall. Whether that's for sound cues or not, we will see. Be very surprised if he leaves that soft, and most likely it will be reinforced. In the meantime, we see a lot of utility being invested quite far and wide. Jaff getting that hatch under their control. Certainly vertical play is important on this particular site. You want to deny it as much as possible, because look at the self-destruction that is being brought along by Aces. You've got the Ash with breaching patches, and you've got the Sledge. That's more than enough to make sure that any anchors are in a living hell. No matter how much booze they've got down there, they can't drink their sorrows away if their heads are being split open by the raining bullets of the attackers.
Yep, well, certainly can be the case, and time is just slowly ticking away. I mean, the thing is, though, Orca is going to be the first line of defence, first line of resistance, has been droned out twice, so both players, or all players that are making this push, are able to react. Ainub in tandem with Orca, her roaming duo, but will she make it work? She is aiming towards Trophy. A very aggressive position, you must say here, Jerry.
Yeah.
But lucky not to get caught out.
And she's managed to deny some of the breaching because there was no attempt to clear West Main by Aces. And it's a little bit of an unchecked factor as Ainu gathers a kill from that trophy position. They've not really completed their checklist here, Aces. They've got to make sure they get this vertical because Orca and Ainu are running right. Orca decides to get aggressive, doesn't destroy the X-Kairos this time because he wants to swing, will down Saldanos, but Zevon is there with an important refrag, loses a lot of HP in the process, however, and Saldanos is a very difficult res target from this position. Will decide to crawl across that sight line. Lucky for him, it is only a sight line and not a runnable hole. Kovac and Jaff have no way of finishing off that Yana, and now two hurt bodies on the side of Aces as the res comes through. Ainub still a factor on the vertical, and Saldanos will make the reverse journey, slugging his way across. Zevon just decides to sprint, but they are now in position to try and get this breached out. Spack and Saldanos, though, appearing on our kill feed, managing to unseat a fair few of those anchors and the roamer. Kovac returning to spray down Saldanos down range and working through these holes, but he is down in the process as now Weiwei is the last one alive, gets a little bit of a boost from that Kona station, but Zevon and Hot Ollerson are in hot pursuit. Ollerson claiming that down onto the player already finished off now. Weiwei, though, takes out Ash and maybe giving away the position in that engagement. Zevon now staring down range, but Weiwei catches out Spack inside of blue, and somehow this has turned around. A 2 versus 4 again turned into a 1v1 now. Zevon on very low HP really can only take a couple of bullets from that SMG, maybe even only one at close range. Decides to hop on the drone with 30 seconds left, has to scout out Weiwei for the 1 versus 1.
Yep, certainly does, and looks as if the drone has been set up for maybe anybody coming through connector and is actually going to go for the plant here. Jerry, maybe that's the plan. Well, there we go. The timer has started. C4 goes out. That surely should be enough, and we'll be getting called out on the cam. And well, there we go. Weiwei with a lovely clutch, a triple kill on the round, and is able to defuse as it goes 6-2 in favour of Aces. Well played from the clutch, but Jerry, you can't help but feel the low HP was certainly in favour of Weiwei.
Oh, don't take that away from Weiwei. I mean, that was a fantastic play regardless.
Yeah.
Like, brilliant stuff from the Mute. And like we mentioned, the 2 versus 4 being swung back around. There seems to be a theme on Ace's attacking half, but this time it doesn't go their way. So 6-2, still on match point. We trudge on a little bit longer as APO do have a fighting chance here with their full roster finally operational, as they're going to be moving back to Master Bedroom for a second roll of the dice up there. Capital once again being brought by Dumfries. We didn't really get to see it in full effect, but I do like the pick, particularly on this site, as there are definitely certain positions. You think about Piano, for instance, maybe even aggressive defenders holding the half wall inside of Office that are very easy to unseat if you have that particular utility. And of course, those smoke grenades to boot, making sure that any execute can be brought on a little bit more swiftly and a little bit more safely.
this top floor site is a lot more worrying. I don't know. I just felt as if last time everything was in favour of APO, and it didn't go. They didn't finish out the round. They didn't close it out. Last time came down to a 1v1 clutch. Fair enough, it was all in favour of Aces, but I mean, APO seemed to have full control of that site. Aces no way in, and well, they were just able to frag out and lost all the gunfights, Jerry. So the question I have is, well, can APO start to win their gunfights? I mean, this is the thing. We're guaranteed overtime for the side of Aces. I feel as if this is just a ticking time bomb for APO in this match.
You've got to look at this game as well and say that going into this match, you could have seen Aces as the underdogs, potentially.
Yeah.
Just in the standings. It is close between the two sides, don't get me wrong, but Aces will be very happy to take 3 points if they can from this, because it will mean that they actually jump APO in the standings up to at least third place. So we'll see how it goes. Hotolzen and Co are very close. Oh my goodness me, Kovac! How did you know? Was that just that was a spray? That was just a spray. The good night comes out in chat, and Hotolzen can no longer be asked. That is I mean, that's so unfortunate.
That was just a beautiful shot, and well, things look a little bit better for APO here, Jerry. Maybe they will be coming back into this match. Things, maybe I didn't really expect this to be just like that. Do lose 2 pellets after that spray there. The mute jammers will be blocking that. I don't know how they got stopped there.
I think the jammer's far to the left, so it didn't have the full radius, and that's why it's disabled one of those X-Carriers. But this is enough to create the opening to mean that Orca has been down. Presumably a nade can sail in to remove the mute jammer proper and open up those walls, but SPAC claims that down, and now we're back at the 4 versus 4.
Yep, it's a little bit easier. I mean, this is it. SPAC's got a long line of sight in towards Kitchen. Sondanos, though, he's just waiting for the reaction, waiting for the engagement. Well, there it is. Inoob gets put in towards the dirt, and look, all these players starting to rotate and start to get ready for the execution. 1 minute and 15 remain, but they still haven't cleared the piano position, and there's so much to burn here in terms of Rooney gates, in terms of ADSs, and well, in terms of bodies as they get rid of AC Kovac here. The plant is starting to go down, and there is one player going below to maybe deny with a C4, and there it is. Weiwei takes out 7, and no, there's the reaction on towards Jaff. Weiwei now has to react, rotate, maybe. We'll need to see. This position will be given away with that line scan. Bullets are starting to get traded. 40 seconds remain. Make that no seconds remain on this match as Aces finally close it out 7-2 all in an unfortunate circumstance. APO found themselves in a valiant effort, but finally Aces close out that round.
Some very solid master bedroom takes there from Aces.
Yeah.
2 of them on their attack to claim that. And you've got to look at that and say, well, maybe they deserve that victory regardless of circumstance, because that was a very adept push that they managed to muster up on that site. So, well played to Aces. Unfortunate for APO, they find themselves at that man disadvantage for a fair few rounds, but they did get things back together somewhat, cobbled together a few rounds, wasn't enough. Fair play to them. 7-2 is... I mean, it's the longest 7-2 I've ever been involved in. I don't know about you, Cairo, but I'm looking at the clock. It's about an hour and a half for a game that didn't reach overtime. That's a rarity. I mean, it happens.
Well, I mean, this is it. I mean, do you know what the best thing is? An hour and a half. Do you know what? I would probably go further than overtime. That's like a game with overtime and a rehost.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Well, it is what it is, Jerry. Yeah. We now finally get to close out the match and kind of discuss exactly what happened there.
Yeah, well, there's not a terrible amount to it, I suppose. Aces on their attacks were sound, but most of all, they had those defenses on lock. It wasn't too much to do with the 4 versus 5, I would imagine. But in terms of like strategy, in terms of like execution, I feel as though mentally, though, average players obviously were suffering a little bit there, and they just couldn't bring themselves to fight the good fight all the way through that. They did their best, and I give them credit for that. So, yeah, I feel like it was mostly one in the mental. There wasn't too much strategically going on there, like to delve deep into. Besides the fact that Aces got those 2 attacks on Master Bedroom very neatly under the belt. The breaching was sound. They had good flank cover in the mid round, and when it came to that 4 versus 2, sure, they lost a body to the plant, but they managed to get the one remaining anchor. So it was very, very well played from them all round.
Yep. Well, Jerry, it's now time to close it out. It's just a great game. Well, I say great games for what two of the teams, not
Yeah.
great games for others because some unfortunate circumstance. But it is what it is. Games go on, life goes on, and while Badass University All Stars, it will go on and return on Sunday this week. Well, we'll need to see exactly what happens on Sunday, but for now, me and Jerry are going to say our good nights. Finally, Jerry, do you want to do a little dance as we say goodbye?
I could. Should I make it a slightly different dance? Like I went
Yeah,
with the
go.
kind of like finger guns thing earlier.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
do a
yeah.
bit of a boogie, bit of
Oh,
a
a little bit of boogie. Right.
mashed
So,
potato.
as we say goodbye, everyone, good night, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
No, don't stop.